You have to fail multiple times to find the right way. But once you find that right flow, and you're gonna be more successful.
Resilience is kind of understanding that like bad things will happen and that like you can turn those into opportunities to grow and become a stronger person.
When I was young, I was one of the only women in climbing. I was the kid at the gym climbing with all the older dudes. I think for me it was sort of like a proving ground.
I've had those struggles too, that people have been upset that there's been a black person in their gym. And I'm resilient because I don't let it stop me.
Adversity teaches you to fail properly. And if you're not willing to accept failure, then you're never going to learn to grow.
Or whatever you can throw at me, like, you're not going to take me away from what I want to do. You can't stop me.
Whether you're alpine climbing or cragging after work, Gnarly Nutrition is here to help you push your possible.
Travel doesn't have to be this super exotic international thing. It can really be out of your own backyard. The high desert is so three-dimensional and it's so big that there is no way you could ever see everything here. The orange and brown and yellow is just so endless. Whether it's something I've done before or something brand new, there's so much to explore just right here.
So yeah, we've been testing out the new catch and hold system from the True Blue IQ Plus. And with the IQ Plus, you know, you're just able to stop there, rest, shake out, try to figure out the moves, and yeah, really excited to have this new device in our gym. It's going to just really help us to continue growing the sport.
Since 1966, we have viewed walls not as obstacles, but as opportunities. From the big walls of Yosemite to the high peaks of the Himalaya, we were searching for a personal kind of freedom. In this pursuit, we found a community, strengthened by different stories, experiences, and perspectives. This community has shown us that the only way forward is together.
Welcome to Austin, Texas, capital city of the Lone Star State and home of the USA Climbing 2023 Paraclimbing National Championships. USA Climbing is happy to be at the beautiful, brand new, state-of-the-art Mesa Rim Climbing Center. I'm Megan Martin here with former paraclimbing athlete Karima Batts. Thank you so much for joining me tonight.
It's my absolute pleasure to be here. This is definitely a day of excitement being here at Mesa Rim Austin with you today.
Yeah, and we've already seen so much exciting earlier today in session 1, but now we're at session 2 of the Paraclimbing Championships. So let's see, right now the athletes are doing a little bit of preview before they come out and get on the climbs. They'll have some time to preview. They'll have 6 minutes to climb later today. So the top men and women from each class, at least one, between at least 1 and 6 from each category will be in the final. And then there will be 4 routes on the wall, but each climber is only going to climb one, have 6 minutes on the clock to do so. 12 total champions will be crowned. So lots of classes, lots of national champions, varying numbers in the final, but only 3 can make it onto the national team, and that's what these athletes are trying to do here today, so they can go and compete in the World Cups.
And that's going to be exciting because the first World Cup of the season is right here in America in Salt Lake City.
Exactly, and a lot of the athletes got to do that last year, and I know they're chomping at the bit to get out there and do it again. So let's run through some of those classes that we might see out here. So quick look at the classification process, the RP categories, neurological/physical disability categories, B categories, visual impairment. We won't see any in this round. We saw them earlier in the session. AU categories, upper extremity amputee, AL2 category, lower extremity amputee, AL1 seated, open, which will have a mix of abilities going on in that category, and then youth, which we already saw earlier today. We're going to have open 1 and open 2, which the variation there is in how hard you climb. So open 1, 5'4" to 5'10", open 2, 5'10" to 5'12".
Correct. And the open classification is a new thing that we haven't podiumed before, which is a really big deal. So the thing is, some people coming into this competition intentionally go into open, not knowing if they can qualify for that podium, and some were classified into open. So we're going to have a mixture of that, and we're going to talk a little bit about that later on in the show.
Yeah, and if you didn't catch all that, don't worry. We'll throw that graphic up a few times throughout the competition so you can start to familiarize yourself with the different classifications and categories. I will say the earlier session of competition was so exciting. We saw a few tops, but not too many tops, which in a competition always keeps it really, really exciting. And a lot of the athletes had to try so hard for every point that they were getting on these top rope routes. So the scoring's very similar. It's just every hold is worth a score. If they have that positive movement to the next hold, that's how they get that plus. It's really good for separation throughout the category. And yeah, the idea is you might want one person to top in a category, but we don't want to see too many. So it was cool in the first session to just see a few.
Absolutely. And then what you're going to see is also some overlapping routes where some categories are going to climb the same routes, and we're going to break a little bit of that information down for you around ability, around classification, and we're going to get to know some of these hometown heroes.
Exactly. And Karima, you've had a long history in the paraclimbing community, one of the first U.S. paraclimbing athletes to ever compete, and you run the adapted climbing group, the ACG for short. Lots of those athletes will be out here today.
We've sponsored over 100 over the last decade. Some of them are former on the team, some of them are currently on the team, but you know, ACG family is extended. Shoot, you too, girl.
Oh, thanks. Well, we're so excited to have you join us, and like having your knowledge in the booth with me is so helpful. I've been lucky enough to see some paraclimbing competitions, but I've been dying to be at Paraclimbing Nationals, so I'm so excited to finally be here. Session 1 was insane. I can't wait for session 2.
So excitement. Edge of the season. First of all, these categories coming up. This session is stacked. And when I say stacked, I mean stacked. I've seen everybody here. I'm not really sure who's going to podium. And it's going to be fast-paced. You're going to see stuff that you've never seen before in your life in climbing, and it's only going to happen here.
Which is so exciting. And we're going to look at a few of the highlights from that earlier session this morning. Oh, that was a great one.
Oh, my gosh.
She was so excited.
So excited. And there's so many new competitors.
Yeah.
And you know why it's happening, right? Because we're here. Because we're here. This live stream is inciting everybody to come to this comp. So if you're seeing something that you like, you see someone that looks like you should be here too. So sign up for the next comp.
Exactly. And the other thing to think about is that the idea is to get into the Paralympics in LA in 2028. So hopefully, you know, if you're seeing this and you think you want to try paraclimbing, like, come on out. it's probably going to happen. I mean, we're fingers crossed. We're sending
We
all
won't know
the
until the end of the
positive
year.
vibes. We're sending all the positive vibes.
I have to wait till the end of the season. But I'm so concentrated on the World Cups, the World Championships, this Nationals. I don't know if I could hold the stomach to find out if we make it in the Paralympics.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a really good chance, and it would be so awesome. And again, if you want to try this sport, please come out. Please watch. You're going to, like Karima was saying, you're going to see things you've never seen before. It's going to be so exciting. I can't wait. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but that lower leg amputee category is one of the more difficult,
most stacked
categories because it's one of the earliest of the paraclimbing classifications, correct?
Yes. Actually, it was me and 6 other guys. Two of them are actually still competing. That was the first USA paraclimbing competition, and it was bouldering, believe it or not. So that's why it was only leg amps there. So.
And that is an interesting question, right? The Paraclimbing Nationals and the World Cups are top rope competitions, but there are a lot of paraclimbing athletes that love to boulder.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. However, for the sake of inclusionary options, we want to make sure that as many people with disabilities are able to compete, and the best way to do that is on the safety of the ropes.
And actually, this would be a good moment to talk about that rope system that is a little different than you've seen in a top roping gym.
Absolutely. So we use a double belay system. This actually originated in 2014 at the Gijon World Championships. We're not going to talk about the incident that happened. None of that. It's on camera. It's fine. But basically, you know, not everybody climbs the same way, and their movement is not the same. And for extra safety, we have these double belay nights. Now, the thing is, these climbers now have to climb around rope drag.
Yeah.
So, you know, like the disability wasn't enough. We also, in the name of safety, have to make sure these ropes are not in the way of our route. So when you talk about what are the challenges is actually the rope.
Yeah, it is always sometimes hard to get around the ropes in a situation like that, and only to be exacerbated by that system, but worth it because safety is the top priority here for all of the athletes. So that's a look at one of the routes that climbers are going to get on, and our first climber is moments away, so we're going to go to a quick commercial break and we'll be back with all of the action.
See you soon.
You have to fail multiple times to find the right way. But once you find that right flow, and you're gonna be more successful.
Resilience is kind of understanding that like bad things will happen and that like you can turn those into opportunities to grow and become a stronger person.
When I was young, I was one of the only women in climbing. I was the kid at the gym climbing with all the older dudes. I think for me, it was sort of like a proving ground.
I've had those struggles too, that people have been upset that there's been a black person in their gym. And I'm resilient because I don't let it stop me.
Adversity teaches you to fail properly. And if you're not willing to accept failure, then you're never going to learn to grow.
Bro, whatever you can throw at me, like, you're not going to take me away from what I want to do. You can't stop me.
Welcome back to the 2023 USA Climbing Paraclimbing National Championships. We are about to get session 2 underway. Session 1 was super exciting.
So exciting.
And we're excited to see some more of the classifications. We saw a lot of them in that first session, but we have yet to see all of the classifications climb. So
the crowd sounds wild and energized as they should be.
Yes, and so excited to get it started. We're going to take a quick look backstage and show you exactly what's going on in isolation. So isolation, all the athletes have to come out and get on the route for the first time. They had their preview time moments ago, but now they're going to just rehearse it in their minds, start getting their warm-ups in. There are routes back there that they can get on and continue to warm up, but in ISO, you always want to have that balance of making sure you're warmed up enough, but you don't want to be too tired.
Yes, and there's like masterful coaches back there with these guys. Some amazing athletes, some seasoned, some brand new. So really it's like a who's who of paraclimbing, but also like who's that, and they could end up on the podium.
Exactly. Nice view of the walls here at Mesa Rim.
Austin, brand new, brand spanking new.
Brand spanking new, so true. And it is nice that they have a lot of warm-up space back there. Isolation doesn't always have all that warm-up space, so the fact that it is pretty spacious is very ideal. Again, just to make sure you're getting warmed up enough to be ready for those difficult moves you're going to see in the competition, but also don't overdo it. You never want to be competing in ISO. You gotta save that for out here.
But luckily, the humidity in Texas is popping, so I don't know where you guys are, but here the high is 80. So it's more like keeping warm, but not too warm, and a lot of chalk.
Exactly. Nice look at those walls. So many angles, so many different options with volumes. And we're going to get it going with our first competitor, Carly Cook, women's AL1.
Yeah, Carly Cook is amazing. I first met her in Massachusetts. She started climbing in one of my weekly programs as a student, and she now lives in Connecticut, and this is actually the premiere of Paradox's athlete team, where they just started sponsoring athletes to compete. And the criteria was that you had to have competed in an athlete team before, and they have 6 amazing athletes that all made it to finals.
Yeah, and we have another athlete in the wall, Matthew Lynch, AU2, our first of the AU2 category.
Have to say it. He's on my team. Yes, Matthew from Long Island, New York, member of Crux Climbing, and just amazing advocate. He actually had this crazy surgery last year because he tore his pec during the World Cup in Innsbruck, Austria, and had to retire for the rest of the season. And so this is actually his first competition post-injury, and he just started climbing again in the fall, over the winter.
Wow, that is not a lot of time, but athletes are always so impressive in that way. You get ready to go out. If you're a competitor, even if you're not at tip-top shape, you're going to fight like you're at tip-top shape, and that's when those amazing moments can happen.
So AL1 is a category in which it is the least impairment of, the most impairment of legs. So you're going to see people campusing the routes, and so the route setters have made routes specifically for campusing. And not every disability is the same. So you have Carly Cook, a seasoned competitor with spina bifida.
Nice wave
and
there.
They actually add these rest points because, as you can imagine, if you don't have 3 points of contact, where's your rest?
Yeah, you need a rest. You can't just shake out as you're campusing. I mean, you can, but we want you to get to the top of the route. So bringing those rests in is really cool. And I love that Carly is playing it up with the crowd. Of course, being a seasoned competitor, not surprising at all. Multiple competitions internationally.
Now, this is the same route that our AU2 women are. The one we look over the left at Matthew Lynch here, and he's coming to some of the trickier parts. Now, as a AU2 athlete, you know, we talked about it like length of limb and what side and whether or not we wear tape or not. And, you know, also the length of the rest of the body, too. Everything plays a part in how this route is going to be read for these athletes.
100%. And Matt's just trying to get into a position where he could move that right hand up, does it really well, and into that undercling as Carly is kind of powering through another campus section and then probably going to take another moment to rest here if she can get up past these last few holds. She is a powerhouse for sure.
Definitely. Look at her go. I mean,
I almost thought she wasn't going to rest first. Actually, she's not going to. She's going to keep going.
She's been training, and I'm telling you, these climbers, I've never seen them so strong.
That's amazing. I love hearing that. Just the evolution of the sport is so incredible.
It's pretty amazing to see how each of these climbers are approaching the same routes that we've seen in session 1. Guys, if you're just coming in to this paraclimbing competition,
go back and watch session 1.
Go back and watch session 1, child.
It was so exciting. Nice
so exciting.
Drop knee on the left from Matt Lynch, just taking a moment to kind of put his hips into the wall and find that good resting position as Carly is almost to her next resting position, getting really close there. Just a couple more moves.
And he passed over that rose, that cross. That was so tricky for so many climbers, both visually impaired and AU2 women.
He definitely nailed it there.
Come on, Carly.
Oh, so close to getting in that rest. Great effort from Carly Cook. Amazing climbing. And, you know, she is the only one in her category. So for her, national champion, which is amazing. But on top of it, that experience here to set her up for those World Cups coming up, and to have a good attempt on that final route is so important.
And she crushes at World Cups. You know,
she definitely does.
I'm excited to see that rock against the rest of the world.
Matthew Lynch still figuring out the section. Now, we saw this be a tricky section
this is
too for
this is the second tricky section for AU2
women earlier today.
And then here, you know, I think I like how he uses his legs, because if you notice, he has a much shorter arm than much of the AU2 women that were in competition. And that's where he had a surgery at. So he's like really being intentional about whether or not to pull on there, and has really learned some new moves, really relying on those long legs to kind of get him where he needs to be and keep him safe so he can keep climbing.
Exactly. We just saw a flash of Carly's score. And remember, she is the national champion. That score of 58 plus. Nice shakes here from Matt. You know, with endurance climbing and top roping requires a lot of endurance. It's so important to get the small shakes. It's important to have those larger shakes as well, but he's just here just trying to get a little shake as he moves his hips back and forth, finding different foot positions.
Very intentional climber. You know, like, he doesn't like think about time. He really thinks about the movement and takes his time. He doesn't rush. You know, he falls in love with the movement. He actually did some outdoor climbing even before when he got here, when he landed a couple of days ago.
He couldn't
like,
help himself.
I am here. Yeah, he loves climbing. And we're going to do some more tomorrow.
As he should. I mean, when you come to these places, you want to see everything nice, move into that Gaston there, but doesn't feel quite comfortable. Going to try to maybe go left hand there if he can.
And coming up next, we have the males AL1 category is coming up next after this.
Doesn't like that either. I am interested to see. There are those feet out right that possibly he could use. It does seem like if he could walk his feet out like he's doing now, it could set him up nicely, because he has that right pinch pretty well. There we go.
Yeah, nice.
Really nice adjustment there by Matt.
1 minute left on the clock.
So remember, 6-minute clock. If it runs out, you do have to come off the wall. I do think at least 5 more holds are possible, and perhaps, you know, he'll really just do a wild thing and make it to the top in that little amount of time. Right now we have Avni Yahaga.
Yeah,
men.
Love this guy. He's the oldest guy in this category. He's amazing. Look at him move.
Crushing. He told me if I could say his last name without him giving me a hint, he'd give me $5. I did not. I almost did it. And
I've known him for about 7 or 8 years, and I just say Avni. I just leave it there. We're all from New York, and he lives in the Bronx, and he's amazing job by Matt.
Running out of time, almost. Matt Lynch,
great climb.
Really great attempt.
Coming back from injury, surgery, dude.
I know.
Grafting of muscles.
That is intense.
Give him a few months at World Cup. Let's see what happens.
Avni getting close to that resting spot. We saw Carly resting earlier.
Whoa.
Oh. Isn't going to make it happen.
Avni.
But great, exactly. Great burn by Avni. And again, only competitor in that category. So he will get to compete on the World Cup circuit.
Actually, he is not a U.S. citizen.
Oh, you're right. That is true.
So he cannot compete at the World Cup. He has a green card. Wait, no, he's in process of green card. Sorry. I keep forgetting. We actually have a lot of, U.S. residents.
And we have our first interview coming up momentarily. Really excited. Carly, how you feeling?
Good.
You absolutely powered through those sections between rests, and you decided to forgo that one rest and keep moving. What was the decision making around that near the top?
I couldn't get on the rest. I got a little too pumped. I really wanted to get on that blue one, but all of a sudden just got a little tired and couldn't quite make that last move to get up there.
Well, wasn't there a rest right below that, though? I think you passed there was like a not as good of a rest, but that one, that's what I meant. Like the decision process there, I think it was interesting.
Yeah, maybe in hindsight, if I would have rested there, it would have been a little better. It just felt like good to just kind of keep going through that section, and didn't feel, I guess it's kind of a balance between trying to get on the rest versus risking kind of coming off getting on the rest.
Which for you is so important, right? Now that you're national champion, you're going to be on the World Cup circuit, and deciphering when to do those rests at the international level, I'm sure they're even trickier. So how does that feel going into those competitions coming up? How psyched are you?
Super excited. I always get really excited when I can see a good rest in there. Still kind of working on that long endurance for the whole route, so hopefully there someday. But for now, like getting high is just kind of the key, is getting a good rest in. So I was thankful the setters gave us a couple of those this weekend.
Yay, we're so happy to. Well, congratulations again, and we'll see you at the World Cups. Good luck.
Thank you so much.
Great to hear from Carly, Avni, and Matt just talking about how the attempts on their routes went and being a little pumped.
You know, two New Yorkers just talking it out over there.
Talking it out with a cup of coffee, you know. You know how we do. I'm not a New Yorker.
It's okay. We're not gonna. Here comes another New Yorker, Brian Zarzuela, also on the ACG athlete team.
Brian Zarzuela.
And newly, the new Adidas athlete. First ever paraclimber on Adidas Terex athlete team walking out,
which is
with the
so
swag.
Awesome, and you see him repping some cool kicks.
You know, cool gear. You know, just doing a thing.
Cool gear.
Oh, Jorge Macias, also in the AL1 category, representing the Bay Area for the West Coast Paracliffhangers team.
Paracliffhanger is coming out strong here this weekend.
And he's got some competition experience, just as Brian does too. But this would be his third nationals, and we're really psyched for Jorge. I actually saw him in qualifiers. He's looking pretty strong.
Yeah, really awesome to hear what these athletes are able to do in the qualification coming in. With the 3 routes, it's cool that there are 3 routes, creates good separation, but a lot of the athletes were topping routes and qualies, and it was coming down to the 3rd route, so it was so exciting and intense to watch that part of competition. And
Brian's making very quick work. By the way, I as a person he's been on my team for like 4 or 5 years now, right? And I have to like look for him because he just like moves so quickly through the route. I'm trying to catch him on camera. I'm like, I can't get it.
Slow down.
Slow down. Yeah.
If you are curious about live results, you can scan that QR code to get the results of what's happening here at Paraclimbing Nationals at the USA Climbing website. And again, Brian really into that stemming section with that cross that we've seen a lot of the athletes struggle with, just not even phased.
I'm telling you, I'm really proud of Matthew and Brian, not just because they're on my team, but just because I've seen their climbing journey in general. And just to see how much work both of them have put in, you know, even though they are the only 2 AU2 men competing today, I'm excited to see what they're going to do on this World Cup circuit.
So am I. And Jorge Macias is quickly approaching that first rest. Both of these men have a lot of international experience. Jorge with a 5th place finish in Salt Lake City in that AL1 category, and Brian with some medals.
Yeah.
Silvers, a few silvers, 1 in 2022, a bronze in 2022, and then in 2021, 2 silvers. So looking to add to his trophy case.
Another little jury doesn't hurt at all. You know what I love about Jorge? He's a multi-athlete. He actually manages other sports like wheelchair basketball and other outdoor adaptive rock climbing. I mean, we got some really talented athletes here today. Look at this rest with the little mantle.
And
Stop
he was
playing.
so close trying to pull up to that blue hold a second ago and taking that little press.
He didn't even sit on that rest really that long.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
And Brian approaching quickly up to that
He passed
finish.
that other crux. Yep.
He has just a couple
We've only
moves.
seen one athlete top this round, really,
Yeah.
and AU2, between the women and men.
No, we haven't.
We haven't?
We haven't seen a top
We
because
haven't
Mo
seen
fell
a
right
top
off
in
at the
AU2.
end.
Oh, boy.
So close, and Mo had to jump to that too. And Brian Zarzuela is going to get a top, first top in the AU category, and that'll put him as the national champion in the AU2 category for the men.
Congratulations, Brian Zarzuela.
Really good fight from Jorge Macias. So a top there for Brian.
And that actually, we still have a couple more athletes in the AL1 category. Actually, this is the most athletes we've had in this AL1 category in a little while, and we still have a lot more show to go.
Oh yeah, sorry, my bad. It's a lot to a lot of paperwork to keep up with over here.
You know
we do have some more athletes.
We do.
I think I got confused because, oh wait, no. Yeah, no, we're done with AU2 though. That's what I was
No, we're
saying.
done with AU2,
Sorry,
but not AL1.
I was like, what are you talking about? Yeah,
Well,
no, I know we're not done with AL1. No. Now
okay, if you're
now
confused by the letters,
sorry.
I've been doing this for 12 years, and my alphabet, I know it, but, you know, I'm still working through this. So if you feel a little confused at home, that means you need to go back, watch some more of these comps, and get in here and work with us.
Yeah, done with AU2, but more AL1 men to come. Going to try to get an interview from Brian at some point coming up. Jorge Macias, 40 plus. We'll have to see what that does for his score, but 2 more climbers to come out.
We got Carlos Quiles out of Connecticut, very seasoned athlete. Tanner, the current champion, both here and abroad. So those are 2 athletes that are going head to head in the rest of this category today. And we're actually going to get to hear from the national champion, Briars Arzuela, right now.
Hey, Brian, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can. All right. And how's the volume? Well, volume sounds good.
Huge congratulations to not only become the national champion, but also to top the finals route. How are you feeling about it?
Feeling really good. I was super stoked. Everything kind of felt exactly like kind of how I wanted it. I really like the top section especially, but it was super fun to come out here again.
And for you, you have a lot of international experience, so how important is it to come out here and be so efficient, especially knowing you have those World Cups coming up, and you're looking to get a gold medal this year?
Yeah, for sure. Probably the best part about coming out here is honestly the community, and it's like you come out here, you're not really expecting much, you just want to join the team again, see everyone, and kind of like use this a lot for practice for like those international comps, like you said. So I'm super stoked for the next one, in Salt Lake City.
Yeah, we can't wait to see you there. Well, congratulations again, and enjoy watching the rest of the competition.
Sounds good. Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you. Up next, we have Carlos Quiles. Like you were saying, very seasoned competitor.
It's because of Carlos that Paradox has its first ever athlete team. He advocated for the sponsorship. He got the thing together, working with some of our other allies out there. And just remember, this is why there is a competition, because there's organizations and gyms who are out there making sure that access exists for all. So let's keep it going.
Yeah, if you have some funding that you want to help with, look at those paraclimbing athletes and see if you can get a team together. We would love that. Want to see more of it.
Definitely. I think one of the most exciting parts about this category is, like, how many people do you see campusing 5, 10, and 11 routes, you know, for fun on overhangs? Like, I mean, it's great training in general, but
I wish I got to see it more.
Yeah, that's all I want to see. I want to see some more. I can't wait.
And we're about to get to see some more, luckily. See what Carlos has in the tank today.
A big shout out to our volunteers who are pro climbers themselves. I see David Egan down there, climbing legend, on the belay over there. With our 2-rope belay system, for those of you who are just tuning in, if you're just jumping in on session 2, the double rope belay system is a safety system developed in 2014 during the Busan World Championships. I mean, yes, it gives a little bit of rope drag, but we can't control the swing out on a lead rope, and the fall can be incredibly dangerous for our athletes. And it's great that USA Climbing and both the International Federation of Sport Climbing is thinking about our safety and also our fun at the same time.
So important. And with that, Carlos is going to start his attempt. Just kind of finding the flow here. You know, when you're campusing, if you've never tried campusing at home, you should definitely try it. I mean, not at home at a climbing gym, but if you at home have not tried it, you should, because it does take not only just power, but there's a certain amount of momentum and control of like body swing that you do have to account for. So when these athletes are getting on this route for the first time, they're having to figure that out on the fly.
Oh, definitely. I believe it. You know, he actually is, this is his 5th nationals. His 5th nationals. He's been to 2 world championships. And, you know, when he's not just climbing, getting people to sponsor athletes, leading care, he's working at a hospital for special care. The most multi-talented athletes you're going to see today, guys.
And we love hearing that. That's amazing.
Oh my gosh, look at that. I mean, I think we know why he's done 5 nationals, man. Look at this.
Not only done 5 nationals, but also competed in multiple international events. 7th place in 2019 in Briançon, just trying to figure out how to get through the section. Chose not to take the rest, so that's always like a thing, right? You either choose to find a rest or don't find a rest, because sometimes it'll zap your energy if you do or if you don't.
Campus climbing is kind of like a burn climb, you know, right? It's almost like in the realm of speed climbing, because if you notice how fast athletes, the chance of someone using 6 minutes in the AL1 category is a lot, you know, less of an option, right?
Exactly.
You know?
And Carlos Quiles putting on a really good show. We do still have one more climber to come in the AL1 category. But one other thing I want to talk about is it's awesome that USA Climbing did take the initiative to make this event a big deal this year. The fact that we have this live stream happening, and I don't know if y'all have noticed the lights on the wall. We have quite the production here.
I have to admit, this is the best one. I've commentated a couple World Cups. I commentated the first Nationals, and I came in thinking like, okay, I'm gonna have to like, what are we gonna do? And I was just like, wow, this is good. This is good. Keep it up, y'all.
And it's perfect because this is the first Nationals that we've had 124 people registered. So it kind of is perfect timing to have this huge production, because that's showing that putting all of that focus on making para more known and getting people involved, it's working. So I'm so excited that we're here getting to do this.
I'm enjoying my time here with you because, first of all, we've been trying to do this for like 2 years. Me and you. Exactly. And it just never lined up. And finally we're here together, and I'm so happy to be here with you.
Yay, I am too. We do have one more climber in the AL1 category. Tanner Sislaw will be coming out soon. Another heavy hitter in the AL1 category.
Actually, he is SPI certified. You know, he's out there climbing guide now.
Yeah, that's awesome. I did not know that, but that's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, you know, he's been a kids coach in now he's in Salt Lake City doing time in the USA Climbing Training Center.
Which is great, because there's a few para athletes that are there too, so to help, you know, get everybody on board with getting psyched for the World Cups and just, you know, working on their craft on the regular.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to the accessibility that's going to come to the USA Climbing Training Center, so we can keep building this program where it needs to be for the World Circuit.
He had a bronze in Briançon in 2019, and it looks like he competed in RP1 a couple times, it says.
Well, because there was
it was a different classification.
Well, no, not necessarily. So during that year in LA World Cup was right after the pandemic. We were still wearing masks. We still had to get tested in order to compete. And we had what we call merger categories.
Oh,
so there wasn't enough people that came. And so that
kind of combined
that year was probably the least amount of athletes at a World Cup ever, because not everybody could fly in for the World Cup in LA.
It was a tricky time.
In Los Angeles, you know, let's not talk about the bad times. Let's talk about the good times.
And the climb that will decide who the national champion is in the AL1 category, another one of those categories that has 4 people in it. So 44 being the highest score right now. Carlos Quiles, he's in a good spot. Jorge Macias, 40 plus, and Avni Yahaga at 21 plus. Actually, since Avni cannot compete, these 3 will be able to be on the World Cup.
Right.
At the World Cup.
We actually have we have a couple of other internationals that are going to be competing in this competition. You want to know why? Because we know how to put on the show. You know what I'm saying? Fly in.
Sounds like a challenge.
I'm just saying, I'm welcoming all the internationals to come to this party.
Come to the party.
Now, this is going to go quick, so you got to pay attention because Tanner is running.
And you see he's choosing to skip a lot of holds. So I was kind of talking about that earlier.
He's doing the burn. So there's different. People do the burn and some people do the rest. You know what I mean? You work what's best with your body, what works best with your strengths.
You kind of have to assess
You have to assess, like, your style, what works best for you. You know, you have your endurance climbers, you have your dynamic climbers, you have your static climbers. And for this particular category, are you a burn or are you a rest?
And he will have the high point there.
Not surprised.
So, yeah, not surprising. And like you said, choosing to burn out, not have any rests. So much power. Oh, his chalk bag is stitched.
All right, Lilo, keep it down. Oh, wow. I mean, could we see a top on this route?
That would be
top
incredible.
For this category?
He is getting really close. And so
the
this
crowd
next part is pretty interesting, too.
1 minute, and the camp is almost up to the top.
Oh, my gosh. Insane.
Apparently, we're not living our best lives. We need to be living like Tanner over here.
So close. I was going to say, I think he might try to get a little shake here if possible.
The only time you rested, really.
Oh, man,
shake of
so
the route. Now, this is really hard. This lip is really hard to like get two hands at this angle because the weight of his body as a paraplegic, it's a dead weight. Climbers, he's not using his abs to climb. There's no momentum being used. Look at that. Amazing.
So
amazing.
Close. Great climbing from Tanner Sislaw. Obviously becoming the national champion. So close to a top. Great fight.
Well deserved. Well deserved. Stick in that.
Yeah, he absolutely crushed that. I did really like his method to that burnout method. So Tanner Sislaw 78 plus for that movement. So when you get a control hold, if you are moving to that next hold, you will get that plus. And he was able to do it. Only a few holds from the top. Really exciting to have the crowd behind him. Music
and that
playing.
ends
We got
the
a
category
DJ
with our national champion of AO1. Shout out to the volunteers out there. We just want to say we want to thank you for flying in, driving in, and being here to produce this, be part of the production of this amazing event.
Yeah, thank you so much. Another look at Tanner. Oh, so close. Almost falls, saves it, tries again, gets super close again. Just trying to pull. Really, really close. Such a good effort there from Tanner.
Definitely.
I'm sure he should be pleased with that.
Seems like the crowd is.
Well, the crowd is definitely psyched. We're going to get a quick interview with Tanner Sislaw, the new AL1 men's national champion. Tanner, were you able to catch your breath?
Yeah, no, I'm good. Thank you.
Congratulations. Now, when you got your preview for this route, did you immediately think, oh, I got a good chance of topping this?
Pretty close. I mean, that top looked a little, I don't know. It was a little bit hard to read. I knew it was going to get pretty close. It's a long route, though. I feel pretty solid with how I did. So
awesome.
All the stoke is flowing out of me.
The stoke is high. Yeah, we are so psyched for you, and the fact that you're going to get to compete in the World Cups again this year, and hopefully, continue to do as well as you've done and do even better. What are you looking forward to most this year about that?
I'm really looking forward to just having a strong year after coming back from recurring wrist injuries from last year that kept me out of the team last year, and just being patient with my body and looking forward to climbing outside while in Europe and just get to see everyone again and just trying to climb my best. So super psyched for the circuit to come.
Awesome. Well, we're so proud of you. We're rooting for you, and thank you again, and congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Wow, amazing climbing from Tanner Sislaw. We're going to take a quick commercial break, but we'll be back with so much more climbing in a second.
Travel doesn't have to be this super exotic international thing. It can really be out of your own backyard. The high desert is so three-dimensional, and it's so big that there is no way you could ever see everything here. The orange and brown and yellow is just so endless. Whether it's something I've done before or something brand new, there's so much to explore just right here.
So yeah, we've been testing out the new catch and hold system from the TrueBlue IQ Plus. And with the IQ Plus, you're just able to stop there, rest, shake out, try to figure out the moves, and yeah, really excited to have this new device in our gym. It's going to just really help us to continue growing the sport.
Since 1966, we have viewed walls not as obstacles, but as opportunities. From the big walls of Yosemite to the high peaks of the Himalaya, we were searching for a personal kind of freedom. In this pursuit, we found a community, strengthened by different stories, experiences, and perspectives. This community has shown us that the only way forward is together.
Welcome back to the USA Climbing 2023 Paraclimbing Nationals. We are getting back into the action, and we're really psyched because we do have a guest in the building with us. Braden Butler.
What's up, guys?
Welcome. Third place in men's RP2. How you feeling?
I'm stoked on it. I came into this week, I thought my endurance was terrible. I thought, I wasn't coming in like my best shape. And then qualifying yesterday went really well. Ended up getting third, pushing first and second. It was pretty tight. And then came into today and everything was there. Strength was there, finger strength has always been like a hindrance for me, and basic strength, and I just felt amazing on the wall. Wasn't pumped at all. Endurance felt great. Just more time and more patience would have been great for me, I think, because, I felt great on the wall. So if I just slowed down my thinking process, I think everything would have went a little bit better. But I'm happy with third, time to go win some World Cups.
Yeah, I mean, we're excited to watch you do that. And I love that you brought that up. And you are super young, so you're still learning a lot.
What do you mean super young? Hey, age ain't nothing but a number. This is your second year in Open. However, you are a seasoned athlete at the age of 16.
Yeah, but I'm just saying the patience that he's talking about, that comes with more years on the circuit, more experience. And
that's true.
The fact that you recognize that that's something you need to focus on, like literally
that's
an
how
hour
everybody
after
should join
you're
in
done
this comp.
climbing.
Exactly.
I mean, you are
Balls.
so wise beyond your years.
Yeah, I felt like I coming into this, man, I thought my endurance was so bad. And that was like my biggest worry. But, I'm looking at these guys, Dennis, very seasoned climbers, been climbing. He said something the other day. He was like, oh, yeah, like I did this comp back in 1988. I was like, I was like negative 18 years old.
Like, nobody even thought about me yet as a possibility. I was like deep in the womb.
Yeah, Ben was even like, dude, I was like 4 years old. And Ben's 28 years old, is really, a seasoned competitor. So,
well, this next round coming up is action-packed. And actually, the AL2 route, isn't that the route that you climbed in this last category? Maybe you could tell us a little bit something about this route that maybe you think Kyle here for North Carolina might be going through right now.
Yeah, so I've climbed a couple times with Kyle, especially at the Adaptive Climbers Festival this October at Redwood Gorge in Kentucky. And he's a really strong technical climber. I've never really seen him do like a comp-style climb, anything like too dynamic. I just haven't been there. But the only time we have climbed together was outdoors, and you really see the amazing footwork. And like I said, he's really experienced, not only as a competitor but also as just like a climber in general. So his footwork's amazing, and he for sure knows what he's doing. So this climb does have a couple like funky moves, but the way I read it, I was actually surprised with how much easier it was than than how I read it.
Yeah, because
that's always nice.
I feel like the holds, we were, and we got screens in front of us, and I was like, okay, that's an undercling, but I misread about like how hard it was to reach for, or how the distance was between them, because they're all just big, and you're like, oh, this is actually more reachy than I thought it was.
So the move Kyle's on right now that he just came off of to the white, the undercling, it looked super gnarly, like it looked huge, and it wasn't that bad. It was a fat jug too, so.
Isn't that always nice when that? It doesn't always happen that way, especially in the World Cup specifically.
Exactly.
Yeah. Caroline Winstell on the right, looking really good as well. We did see
another seasoned competitor,
the RP1 men on this route, and yeah, both Kyle and Caroline. Oh, Kyle coming off there. A little unexpected,
I did not expect
honestly.
that one.
Slip up.
They both came off. Wow.
I was really sure Kyle had the entire section.
I'm sure Kyle had it. He looked shocked too, actually.
Yeah, that was
and this category is definitively the stacked
maybe
category.
the most stacked category.
I think AL2 and RP2 are going neck and neck.
For most stacked.
I think the route setters threw some surprises up there they weren't ready for.
And it looks like Caroline is also down. She's actually the team captain of the local team I'm on when I'm not on the national team with Catalyst. So
nice.
She's
team captain of Catalyst.
Not only a great climber, but also great influence and really good kind of manager position she has.
Caroline just double checking about the score. So 32 plus is what she's going to walk away with. The first one to come out in the RP2 category. So we'll have to wait and see what the other athletes in that category do. Same with Kyle. First of the AL2s to come out.
Right. And then also you're going to see some differentiation with our amputee climbers. We're going to see above knee, below knee. We'll talk a little bit about the style, the choice of wearing a climbing prosthetic, not wearing a prosthetic. We'll break that down for you later on in the category.
Yeah, Kyle, I didn't expect that at all. That's what happens though. We blow feet, dry fire. So I think Kyle's even like a competitor when it comes to like on the world level. So,
yeah, he really
Gavin.
First time in nationals. We got to meet Gavin at Adaptive Climbers Fest. You got to climb outdoors with him. A veteran, U.S. veteran out of California. And I think he's like one of those people that I'm like, oh, you're the future of this sport. You know what I mean? Like,
Gavin's also like a pretty recent amputee.
Very recent amputee, but he's so strong. We're talking
not even a year.
Not even a year.
Wow. So, you know, I've heard a lot of that. No, but I have heard a few athletes having, you know, gone through that less than a year, or even someone as early as 4 months. I was talking
Within
to
my first year, I was in Colorado Mountain School, so like it's a deal. And on the right, we have Brittany Ray Davis, another seasoned competitor, who is the membership director of the Block Haven Bouldering Gym in Greenville, South Carolina. And she's actually been on the World Cup World Championship circuit for paraclimbing, been competing from 2018. Yes, I'm favoritizing because yes, it's my team and I want her to do well.
She was telling me something really cool earlier. She said that Anna DeVries, who we'll see later,
she coaches. Yeah.
Well, not only that, but the way that Anna got into climbing was they went to the same prosthetic place that Brittany did, and the person there told Anna about climbing, and the next thing you know, she's in the climbing gym climbing with Brittany. And so I was like, oh, that is such a cool story. Thank you so much for sharing.
Yeah, Brittany was the route setter that caused her accident to fall, and then she also was a youth coach of youth nationals, ran Cliffhanger's gym in North Carolina, now running the gym in South Carolina, and somehow she found the time to make it to finals.
Well, like I said earlier,
all of these climbers here are making me feel lazy. They're just making me feel lazy. Not even about the climbing part, but like everything else outside of the climbing part.
I don't know how they do it. You know, junior year of high school, I had to switch to online just so I could just try and make a podium because everyone's, you know, stepping their game up this year.
And Braden, you do a lot of training in Salt Lake City as well. How has it been, you know, climbing in the TC and getting access to all those coaches? Really nice move there by Gavin.
Look at Gavin. We're all like gasping.
The second person.
Oh my gosh.
You know what? That opposition.
Is this the AL2 crux?
Okay, no, I don't know how though.
But no, I think it's the lack of opposition.
The lack of opposition.
Right
because you got to remember, for amputees or other below knees, this is a dead weight for us. You know, we can't use it. It doesn't have that same momentum feel. And I wonder how much that is playing a part.
Gavin's definitely frustrated, but little does he know, he's not the only one. So definitely like reading that route, I definitely identified that the side of that, massive sloper is not the way to go and just kind of jumped straight. I took a peek at it and then jumped straight to the top.
Brittany's looking really good, resting, being intentional.
And you mentioned her being a route setter previously. Does she still route set?
Her husband is the route setter of this competition.
Oh, Aaron?
Aaron
I didn't know her husband was
I didn't know they were married.
Yeah, and actually during the comp, they don't see each other. She stays with the team. They don't talk to each other.
That's how you do when you are dating. I know from experience.
Yeah, I won't see you for 2 weeks. All right, bye.
But again, so having the knowledge about route setting and using that to your ability to read routes is very helpful.
Yeah,
so Brittany probably putting some of that to use as she's honestly crushing this route.
Really?
Oh, unfortunate slip there.
Really good effort.
So the way her injury, similar to yours, like one side is a little weak. She doesn't have a full rotation of that wrist, and so that can get you when you're trying to reach for that.
I have a similar thing, the supination of my arm. I don't know any of these big words, but
yeah, you're right.
When you said it, I believed you.
Yeah, same thing.
You know it is.
And I've actually learned a couple of exercises from one of my homies back in Salt Lake, Joanne. She's helped me with a lot of new exercises.
No. Oh, sorry.
I don't know. But yeah, like you were saying, Megan, I am in Salt Lake quite frequently. I was out there the entire month of November and then also the entire month of February, getting some training in at the TC, and just, there's a great variety of gyms out there. I have like 5 different places to climb.
Coming out is another season. I started paraclimbing with this dude right here, Corey Ramos. He took a break, had some babies, got married, came back.
Well,
and, just showing people what it's about.
He didn't birth the babies, though. So.
No. I mean, well,
he had to take
a break.
He did. The sleep deprivation is real for all.
He contributed to the process.
Yeah.
But Corey Ramos, me, him, and Ronnie Dixon, who's also competing today, we were the first paraclimbers in this competition, and to see these folks still doing it, still crushing it, and still showing the youngest folks how it's done.
And here's Anna DeVries. We were mentioning her a little bit when Brittany was climbing, so got by happenstance found climbing through,
and now
going to the
against
same
her mentor.
Yeah, which is so cool.
Yeah, it's so cool.
I was watching Corey climb in. I came and watched the first round of qualifiers yesterday, trying to scout out some climbs, figure out which ones were behind. and he is really knowledgeable. You know, like you said, he's been climbing for a long time and competing for a long time. You can kind of see it on the wall.
Oh yeah,
super calm. You know, just
super
chilling.
chill. Actually, he didn't always climb with the climbing prostheses. When I met him, he climbed with his walking leg. And then when the evolution of the climbing prosthesis started, its price point was too expensive. It was actually like $500.
Wow.
And then Evolve, the climbing shoe company, bought the rights and the print of it, and now it's at a price point around $250.
Way more affordable.
Way more affordable, like a pair of climbing shoes, right? And so if you notice this little foot with the little shoe on it, that's the Evolve EAF climbing foot, and was the first sponsor of me and a lot of other paraclimbers in competition and outdoors.
Corey setting up for this move that we've seen a lot of the AL2 men struggle with. Looks like he's going at it with a different approach, which could serve him well here. He has more of a hold on it, so there you go, creating the better opposition by going first to the green hold, then to that black hold, but has to hold it there.
He hit it.
That wrap on the left side of it, being able to keep him in. Really great route reading.
Dave Rees is crushing it over here in the RP2 route.
Yes, she's doing really good right now.
She's giving the adults the run for the money.
She also looked great in qualifying yesterday. They were on similar climbs to us and absolutely crushing it.
Oh yeah, I'm super stoked for this one.
And Corey just did this move way different.
Look at this rest. Look at this rest, boo.
Way different than everyone in RP2 did. I actually had to, like, you know, get a little dynamic with it, which you do not see in paraclimbing often.
Yeah, Karima mentioned that specifically.
And so he was able to get a really high foot and, you know, reach up into it, which is great. You know, conserve some energy.
I am interested to see the approach here. We saw
nice
Ben
flag
Mayforth.
with the prosthetic. That's very hard to do. That flag and that angle is very, very hard to do.
We saw Ben Mayforth do a wild dyno here.
Here we go. That's
we
it.
have a somewhat dynamic movement here with the left hand
and
for
controlling
Corey,
that
but
swing.
way more controlled.
Yeah.
I wish I knew the hold was a bucket because I would have just jumped. It looked like a sloper from the ground, though.
It definitely does.
Anyone who doesn't commit to that, that's the reason. Is it looks
Okay,
terrible.
Anna is now at the high point of this entire competition right now.
Looking like she wants to
She
walk
looks
away
like
with
she
a
won
top.
She's like, I didn't come here to play. and it looks like Corey's on his way as well. I don't know.
We said that.
Also has a similar high point to where.
Super close there. I was going to say, we said that category was going to be super competitive, and it's proving to be that way.
And RP2 Women's is coming this way, too, thanks to Anna.
Yeah, she's working her way up.
And Anna's 16?
16 years
so,
old.
yeah.
You go talk to your friend.
Well,
like, there's going to be a whole 16-year-old crew just coming for all of us. Are we ready for this? Are we ready for this?
We got Micah in RP3, too.
I've already been there, done that. I don't do that anymore. That's why I just watch.
We sit back here and we congratulate.
Yeah, last year I was 15 and, like, no pressure, but then,
Anna, such great climbing.
I'm unsure if they'll give her the plus there, but really great effort setting the high point in the RP2 category for the women. And Corey Ramos with a score of 35 plus
setting the
for
bar.
The AL2 with some heavy hitters looking to come out next. Two more climbers in that AL2 category. Anna DeVries with that 44 points, really setting herself up in a good position to possibly become the national champion and looking for a spot on that national team.
And other thing we wanted to talk about, because we talked about the RP category, where RP2 is kind of like the middle ground of impairment, RP3 being the least severe impairment. So you have to have an impairment of at least one limb. RP2 at least 2, and then RP1 at least 3 limbs. Coming out now, we have Ethan Zills, who had like an amazing debut year last year, and he works in like mail service, and he came out to Innsbruck. I'm convinced him. I was like, you gotta go. He like literally flew in, day out, and still masterfully crushed out there in the World Cup.
Day in, day out?
Like maybe 3 days. I think it was like 3 days,
wow,
maybe. Like
jet lag.
It was like, he's like, I only have 2 days off of work. I gotta go to this. I gotta go to World Cups.
Exactly.
He's an amazing climber.
Yeah, like he's like, I'm going into this World Cup, but I only have 2 days, like 3 days.
And this is Emily Seelenfreund. You know, she is the co-founder of the previous
ACG athlete. Yeah, she was actually started off in weekly sessions in ACG, Massachusetts as a student. Then moved to New York to finish law school. Started climbing with us. started competing with us, and her and another athlete started the Paraclimbingers from the
So
adaptive
cool.
climbing group. Ethan Zill's making quick work over here. Represent the West Coast.
This beta
and so
to
is
me-
Emily is represent. West Coast is just strong up in here, okay? They're just letting us know what's up. I don't know. I feel like it's like a New York, California battle on the wall right now, and maybe Colorado comes and visits once in a while.
Emily
but it's
making
looking
quick
good.
work of that opening section.
And Ethan, along with Gavin, using some crazy beta, like through the 2 Waco-style holds, because the second one has no jib and is terrible, and is definitely intended to just be a foot. And they're just, matching it and moving off. They're real calm. I had to skip that one because did not love me a sloper.
I mean, if you can skip a hold that you don't like, you can't always do that. So when you can, you might as well take advantage of it.
I always like Emily's approach to routes, always did. Obviously because of her particular disability, she actually has to be pretty static. So she has tons of rods in her body because it's sort of a type of brittle bone osteogenesis. Not a rare disability, but rare to see a climber with a disability, with this disability in the sport. And currently she is the only one that I've seen compete so far. And not only that, she just makes really smart movement choices, which I think comes with being a lawyer. I don't know.
Lawyers are pretty cerebral. That makes sense. Ethan really crushing that section. We have only seen one other athlete get through this so far in this category. So, like we said earlier, the AL2 category is extremely stacked. So,
That heel,
not surprising.
Yeah, that heel is actually how I read this portion of the climb, and kind of strayed away from it when I was climbing, but he seemed to use it really well. Wow.
Wow,
He
look at
is
his, look at that heel is
nothing
so...
right now. Because I was looking
I saw
at that
nothing
through
but
the
calf
section,
muscle there.
and I was like, there's no way I could do
All
that.
muscle.
Oh, here it comes.
Wow.
Okay. Yeah. Nice match.
Really great coordination there.
Not even a swing on that one.
I keep looking at all these guys do this move, and I'm like, I totally could have just jumped to that.
Well, you live and you learn.
Exactly.
And that's why you have more time than us to compete. Get it right the next year. Get it right at World Cups in May.
Emily kind of trying to figure out how she wants to approach this next section.
And that's the thing. When you have this limited mobility,
There we
we saw
go,
this in
that
RP1.
press. But also it was tricky, too, because there's so much dual text in that whole area as well. So much of that slippery
And
texture, so she has to find...
she's moved to RP2, so she was in RP1 last year, RP2 the year before that, because all the rule changes in classification, and especially since her disability is not necessarily seen in this competition, technically all 4 are affected, but how much are they affected? Because it's the whole body, and trying to figure out where this person fits into the competition, it's really hard thing to do.
Crushing.
Wow, that mantle right there with
Whoa,
that right,
nice.
trying to get that right foot up.
Yes, whoa.
And those flat hold pinches are not easy to hold. They are very thick, and you have to pinch super hard to stay on, especially at this angle on the wall. After all these moves, the fatigue's starting to set in.
Yes.
I'm sure grabbing that crimp is a little bit of relief on that pinch right now.
Yeah, he's got the sequence a little wrong right now, but I think he might be able to correct it. He's looking really solid.
I wonder if you can see that jib right there.
I think he's on it with his right hand.
And the right hand on it? Yeah.
Emily's
There's
still
one
moving
little
through.
notch
All
right there. Oh.
Good fight.
He didn't get that right hold. He didn't even touch it, so he didn't get the plus. So I think that's like the 35, I think maybe.
Yeah, so he's going to be right behind Corey.
Yeah, we got to see. But Emily's looking great.
They gave him a plus, 36
They gave him the plus, 36 plus? Okay.
Everyone showed up this year.
Look, see, there's that rope.
So close to the top right now. The crowd wants a top from Emily.
Should be like the second climber in RP to top this route, actually, if she does, I think. The crowd is going insane. The energy is high right now.
Yeah, everyone was showing, oh, wow.
Nice.
Come
Oh,
on.
so close. She's got this.
Hard.
Here we go.
Just has to readjust.
This won't be her first gold medal, but let's do it with a top, huh?
Oh, the backslide.
This is a hard move here.
Come on.
Oh, so close.
So
Really
close.
great
Amazing
climbing
performance
Emily.
from this category. What a way to finish this category and wrap this up.
It is a great way to finish that category. I know she would have wanted the top. You see she's, again, athletes always scanning for the people that they know to make sure they get that heads up.
Yeah,
for like, oh yeah, you did enough.
I looked down right at my mom, and I was like, do I get a thumbs up? Like, did I make it?
Yeah.
Ethan Zills with a score of 36 plus, still with Ronnie Dixon to come. This
He currently moved ahead of Corey Ramos here, so.
Yeah.
He is ahead of Corey.
Yeah,
by a point, 1 point, because Corey's got 35 plus, he's got 36 plus.
45 plus for Emily Seelenfreund, and
Amazing
that will
score.
give her that national champion title in the women's RP2 round. And here, Ronnie Dixon getting ready to get
Another
on
living legend.
this wall. Many medals.
Fellow Floridian.
Yeah, I know. It's funny. We were talking earlier. Like, I've known Ronnie for
You guys are the
so
only two
many
professional
years.
Floridian
that's-
competitive athletes, almost,
That's
right?
not true.
No, who else is there?
Matt Siegel.
Oh, Matt Siegel's Florida too?
Yeah.
Jeez, I gotta look this up.
Miami.
Where do you find your mountains, flat
We don't
state
have
people?
Ronnie Dixon ready to take this route on. I'm sure he will have some interesting beta for that middle section. We've seen it go a couple times now, and it'll be really cool to see him up in those pinches at the top. But you got to get through the bottom first. So he's working his way through, choosing his sequence wisely. No stranger to being on top of a podium, so.
Yeah. Actually, he's one of the first 2 paraclimbers to ever compete at the IFSC World. In 2012, it was him and Craig DiMartino who actually represented the U.S. for the first ever. And they're the ones who really are the start of our paraclimbing competition that convinced me to come out there.
I got really lucky. Catalyst held like a local comp in Chattanooga, Tennessee this December, and Ronnie was out there, and we were in separate categories, and both ended up going quite well. And we're cruising some of the routes, and there was one route, it was like a 1-move climb, like everyone was falling. So I was like, oh, it's not even, I was done. Like I had done pretty well, and like
he's also the only above the knee amputee. Really,
in the AL2 category.
In the AL2 category, because you have to understand that the prosthetics are very heavy. An AL2 athlete can have a 10-pound weight prosthetic on their leg almost.
That release that he just had there, you're speaking
and he's
about the
flagging
weight
with the dead weight of his
both the
leg.
weight of the prosthetic in that release from the toe hook. Kind of a risky move, but not surprising from him. He is very fit, very, very, very fit.
He was the first para-evolved athlete. He's the first adaptive athlete in America amputee to ever send a V10.
He also competed in Open Bouldering Nationals.
Yes, he was the first para to ever do Open Nationals. Yeah. The bat hang he did was epic.
Yeah, it was awesome. I remember that. I was at that competition. That was fun. Ronnie taking a few seconds to shake here. Shaking out.
In his professional life, he makes prosthetic legs.
Yes.
So if you go to chat, you need a prosthetic leg. Go take a visit. He got you. He has a climbing wall in the office too, actually. So
he does.
He never stops training.
So we'll have to see how he approaches this section of the route. We've seen it done a few different ways. You can either do it a little more statically. We saw Ben Mayforth absolutely huck to it earlier in a explosive dyno. It was so cool. I think Ronnie will go with some security here. I know he knows that he has to be really on it in this category with how stacked it is. He is a little indecisive here. That was shocking.
I did not see this happening. I'm sorry. I just lost it. I've kept it together all day. I'm over. I'm gone.
This is where you see this.
The podium is shifting.
It's crazy though, because I always am talking to people. I'm like, oh, if you want to be a good paraclimber, good finger strength, good endurance, good basic strength, you're good. You don't need anything else. Well, now I'm kind of proved wrong. These routes are definitely like a lot more comp style. I'm used to in like youth comps and things like that, and like they're dynamic, they're sick, and like lots of modern movement.
They're really pushing it.
So
I think I think what happened is USAC got tired of Ronnie topping every single competition for the last decade, and he was.
And so we're going to quickly get an interview with Emily Seelenfreund, our national champion in the women's RP2. Emily, how you feeling?
I feel really good. That was a really fun route, and that was what I was hoping for.
You climbed so well. The top, you were so close to getting to the top. A little tricky up there. How did you keep the calmness and patience to try to work through that section of the route?
Yeah, that was definitely a big move, and I could kind of tell I was going to have to go for it. I was trying to get my feet up. Couldn't quite hit it, but it was a fun challenge.
I have to say your palm press kind of in the middle or just past the middle of the route was probably my favorite part. Just want to give you a shout out for that right there.
I appreciate it.
Well, congratulations again on being the national champion. We cannot wait to see you in the World Cup, and enjoy the rest of the night cheering on everybody else.
Thanks, appreciate it.
Thank you. So Ronnie Dixon will get a 27 plus, I believe, so not going to be the national champion this year.
Surprise.
Which
Everybody's
is a huge surprise.
No one is more surprised
than
Grima.
Was he the final one in AO too?
Yeah, he was the final
So that
climber
means
in
He was
AO2.
first in the finals in AO too.
So Ethan's going back to back, yeah. He won last year, won this year.
Yo, dude. You know, actually, these two have been climbing together. I told Ethan, because Ethan, by the way, Ethan is a massive fan of Ronnie, and all he wanted to do was like climb as good as Ronnie. And I wonder how he feels right now. You know, like
that's what I'm hoping to do to Ben these next couple of years.
Well, we're going to go ahead and take a quick commercial break, and then we'll get back to more climbing. We're going to let these two talk it out and see if they can decide what they should have done up
who
there.
loves each other more.
Whether you're alpine climbing or cragging after work, Gnarly Nutrition is here to help you push your possible.
Welcome back to the 2023 Paraclimbing National Championships. So much excitement has already happened, but we are getting ready to continue on through the categories. I believe that women's AL2 category is about to start next. We've watched some of the men in the AL2, so now we're going to start with the women with Kale Soria. This is her first nationals. She wasn't really expecting to make the final, but then really excited to get out there. I think she's only, like we were mentioning earlier, a year out from her surgery,
But
actually.
the other interesting thing is she already was a climber.
Yeah, exactly.
Before her injury, so this is just natural. She's also like a snowboarder. She lives out in Montana. She's gone ice climbing.
Aspen.
Aspen. I'm sorry. I was thinking of something snowy and mountainous. We're from New York City. It's
Those are
all the same to us.
Yeah, they're both snowy and mountainous. You're right.
But she was out ice climbing in Montana, actually, is what I'm thinking of, just back in December with a bunch of other paraclimbers. So she's really taking being an amputee to another level, just trying every sport out, which was what I did in my first year. I tried everything, and that's how I found climbing in the first place.
Yeah, that's amazing. I mean, I think more people should get out and try new things that they're not used to. If you want to know a little more about the classifications, here is a really good piece of information in the left side of our screen, how they classify all of the categories. We are in AL2, so that lower extremity amputee right now for the women with Kale Soria, her first nationals. We were chatting a little yesterday because she was a little nervous about coming out first. I was like, that's the best, though. You make all the moves for the first time.
Watch
the
rest of the
crowd's
show.
behind you. Yeah, you get to watch everybody else. It's such a fun time. So I told her to be excited about coming out and just think about what she wants to happen and not what she doesn't want to happen.
Absolutely.
Stefan Sattel on RP3.
From the Bay Area, another Touchstone Gym climber here from the paraclimbing team. Got to meet this guy last year. Really great vibes, and also an amazing climber. He climbed before, you know, his disability took hold, and he makes really great choices when climbing, and he just seems to be getting better and better every time I see him.
the beginning of this climb is actually so awkward. Like, I was sitting there and I was like,
and he made it look just so easy.
Yeah, there's no way I'm going to fall on these first 10 moves. I was like, there's no way. And,
And then you all of a sudden were up there and you were like, wait a second, now I'm second guessing it.
No, like, it was so awkward. Like,
And, you know, that does happen sometimes. You might look at a route and be like, ooh, that looks easy, and then get there and it's like awkward. But then the reverse of that is when you think something's going to be really hard, and to your surprise, it ends up being kind of chill.
that's how this whole route was for me. Is I was sitting there, I was like, this has got to be like 13A, like 12D. Got up there. We were talking about it, you know, after the comp. We were thinking like, it's hard to, you know, grade a comp. We're thinking like 12B, 12C.
All right, that's interesting. Good feedback.
He's like cruising through. So just to break down the categories again. Right now we're watching the male RP3 category, and as we said, it's range of power. RP1 being 3 limbs or more affected, RP2 being 2 or more limbs affected, and RP3 a minimum of 1 limb affected. I'm not sure, but I remember I think Steven has like a fused ankle, and I forgot something in regards to balance affection. But this is not his first competition, and it's showing.
Kale finding a good little hip rest there on the women's AL2, and Stefan trying to get a little knee bar in there. Nice. Oh, wow, that was an amazing save.
Lucky
wow.
he's on a bucket right now.
Wow. And then with a flag. Okay. Come on now.
This
Putting
next
on a
hole
show.
is actually pretty good. I was a little worried because like on overhang, my left hand tends to open up, but it's a jug, so it feels pretty nice. So hopefully once he gets his feet established, he'll be chilling right there.
Yeah, the reading this part and trying to create that opposition to keep you in the wall. We saw Ronnie set a toe hook here in the AL2 category, which is a nice way to pull yourself into the wall, but then you do have to release it, and when you're elongated and releasing
And here we go. He's about to do the
power.
move that stumped a lot of folks in different categories right here. I would say this is one of the first crux. If he get himself in the right position,
Nice
it can work.
wrap there to rest, taking a little pressure off. Kale trying to get that foot up, able to do it. Nice. Really making quick work here. And again, about less than a year out from becoming an amputee. So even though she was a climber, she still does have to, learn how to climb differently.
She has to learn how to trust that climbing prosthetic, which I find as a new paraclimber, using it for the first time, it feels a little weird. You got to like kind of get used to it. You got to figure out how to edge with it and everything and trust it. But I think she did an amazing first time performance. I can't wait to see what she does next season.
Really great job from Kale Soria.
Well.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see. She was the first one out for that category, so we don't know exactly what is going to happen. But she agrees that the score of 34 makes sense. All smiles from Kale. Now she can enjoy the rest of the competition. Same with Stefan Sattel. Really happy. He really fought hard in that undercling, trying to figure out a way out of it. Lots of close calls that he saved. So. Very, very, very exciting.
This climb seems to have a lot of people cutting feet, which I did not expect, but it's different for every category, every ability.
Yeah.
For sure,
I mean, leg amps are, pretty heavy on the arms, right? So it all depends.
Exactly. And I think he knew, if he was to cut feet there, he was most likely coming off. Well, you got guys like Ronnie who, do, like you said, rely on their upper body. And he knew, okay, if I cut feet right here, that's why I can set the toe hook. And I'm sure Ronnie thought through all of that, in the process of reading it and climbing it.
Well, I have to tell you, the energy in here is completely electric, and we're not done yet. And coming out is my friend, Mark Jourdain. Out of Boston, Massachusetts, been climbing for a while now. I think I met him in 2014, maybe 15 when he started climbing at ACG Mass. And then a new climber out of Nashville, Tennessee, an AL2, the wonderful and awesome, beautiful Morgan.
Both athletes looking super psyched. I love the energy from both of them.
I was like,
coming out.
The two beautiful people are coming out. They look good, they climb good. Now what?
That's awesome.
Gotta be a catch, dude.
Yeah, gotta be a catch. What's going
Mark
on
getting
here?
up on this route pretty quickly, trying to work his way through the opening section that Braden has deemed as pretty awkward.
Yeah.
There's a big difference between hard and awkward. It's definitely a super easy section. It's a lot of jugs, good edges. But I feel like anytime I'm walking with my toes out, I just look so goofy. And so it definitely is one of those sections where your feet are massive. Like there's such big holds, and there's so many holds to use that you just kind of are waddling around.
But he's also making like really smart choices, and I think that's the difference. We talked about RP, about how that range of ability and like in the range of amputation. So his disability is that he actually has a shorter foot. So, you know, he normally walks around in the lift with the lift shoe. And I've actually seen some paraclimbers that wear the lift shoe and climb, like, you know, Voss, for instance, right? And then, but in here, he's actually not wearing lift shoe and choosing climbing shoes. And that makes a difference on, you know, how far you can spread out on certain moves, where you can press, where you're going to flag.
This is a portion of the climb where I knew I was going to have to get the sequence right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, number one, it looks so much bigger from the ground, like I said. But like,
and you get up there and you're stretched out.
We've seen a couple people, though, who have gone left. So there's 3 almost like foot jibs kind of laid up on that volume. And you can see the sequence. If you get your left hand all high up on it, then you pretty much have to go right hand. Unless you can, you know, take the risk and try and match.
Well, Morgan Loomis is looking like she's kind of trying to work this sequence. What's funny how this sequence stumped a bunch of different categories.
Oh,
no.
She just lost it. Kind of moved out of the way, out into the right a little too early and lost her balance.
What
really
a great
debut.
Climbing. That's a good debut right there.
Very great climbing.
That's what it's all about. Oh, took a big jump and ends up coming off. It's definitely a move I would try and do static, because that hold, you have no idea. You don't know if it's good, if it's bad. You can't tell from the bottom. So, and I kept asking Ben when we were reading. I was like, oh, like how do you think that hold is? How do you think that hold is? He's like, oh, it's terrible.
Did anybody think to bring some binoculars out?
Yeah, I mean, I was actually talking to somebody yesterday, like, dude, you need to bring some binoculars. I was like, okay, I'll bring them next time.
All right,
but
sponsors, did you hear us? Paraclimbers need binoculars. Thank you.
Sponsors, if you hear me, I also need help getting to World Cups.
Brandon's like, sponsors, if you hear me, call me.
Please.
Nice big hug between Kale and Morgan.
I mean, when you're back there in isolation, you're now best friends in isolation. A good 90 minutes of just warming up.
Oh, yeah.
You make some friends back there. Yeah, 3 hours or so, yeah. So this category is really just getting started. We only had 2 female AL2 women out. We have some more to go. Some of the strongest climbers I've ever seen are due to come soon.
And we're really excited. We're going to get to talk to Ethan Zills. Ethan, congratulations on becoming the new national champion in the AL2 category. I know you and Ronnie have competed together a lot, so that was a really fun route for you all to test your abilities out on. How did you feel about it?
Thank you. Yeah, it was a super cool route. The thing that I definitely found was the hardest was the jump. I was definitely not expecting that at all, and I just saw it and I was like, I'm not sure what else to do here, but I'm just going to go for it, and ended up working out. I'm super stoked right now.
And, well, as you should be, being national champion, amazing. And, you know, having all that experience, being able to make that quick decision to just go for it and be confident in the moment, all of those things you can take into the World Cups this season. How excited are you to get to do that?
Oh, definitely excited for the World Cups. Definitely been training since last year. Definitely feel stronger, but I also know that there's a lot of tough competition out there, so it's gonna be a good battle.
And you know, there was just one hold difference for you to clinch this gold. How does it feel to have that competition be so close?
It's super tense. It just means you got to train even harder. Make sure you're in the gym, put in those hours. Yeah, got to keep at it. Never resting.
We're psyched for you,
well,
Ethan.
We're so psyched for you, and congratulations again. Enjoy the rest of the competition. Thank
you so much.
Wow. So great to hear from him. And again, that AL2 category just so competitive. One hold difference from first to second.
One holds and plus. That's it. That's the only difference between each of those guys. Amazing performance.
It's so scary when competition is so tight.
It definitely causes stress. It causes a lot of stress. So up next we have Benin Palmer.
Newcomer.
For RP3. Got a little mishap on the graphic. Last name Palmer. Looking forward to seeing him climb. You said new to the scene.
Well, yeah, actually we have 2 new climbers to the scene. On my ACG team, we have over here out of Camp Lejeune in North Carolina, we have Cara Parker. So this is our first ever competition season, but not first ever an athlete.
Okay.
And so it doesn't surprise me that in her first competition, she's flying in second. Okay.
Right.
She had just a little baby.
Yeah,
and so
she was
she's,
telling me that
she's-
yesterday.
Yeah, so she's got a 1.5-year-old at home, and she finds her time to train. Her pull-up game is crazy, so I'm excited to see what she does on this route today.
This route look is like really progressive, which is really common in para. Is you like to see the climbs who start as easy as like 5.6, 5.7. The next thing you know, it's like 12s and 13s. You know, this is the first year I've ever gotten on a route, and the one that Bennett's on right now is not that progressive. It's pretty stout the whole way through. You know, the beginning's pretty chill, but the second you hop into those Wacos, it definitely amps up.
Yeah, and then you find yourself in that steep section on this route really quickly. You're kind of just like having a good time, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh wait, overhanging, and now I'm starting to get pumped, and I still need to figure out what I'm doing, where I'm going, what's my sequence. So there's kind of a lot going on, and it happens really, really fast.
Right. And then, of course, she's the first, just like Ronnie, you know, above-knee amputees approach the competition differently. The beta moves that they're going to make, as you notice, like, that's a heavier weight. And some above-knee amputees don't even wear a prosthesis to climb, you know, because of that, or they wear it short right up to the nub, you know, and they do a short leg to take that weight off.
I didn't know you could do it up to the nub. That's really cool that there is that option.
There is that option, but then again, that's also like a style choice. You know, like when we talk about the AO2 that like decides to wrap or not wrap, or, you know, like this works well for me and my movement. You got great hip movement. She lifts weights, though. She actually, so that's what she does. Oh my gosh, the cut feet.
It's almost like you just let go.
Dude, Bennett.
So close.
So close. Man.
That section just proving to be one of the hardest parts on that route. That followed by that jump soon after.
I would say those are the two cruxes of the route.
And then the pinch section up top.
Oh, yeah.
Pinch section's
Pinch section's crazy. Yeah.
No, but there's a athlete on the Spain team, I believe, and he does, you know, kind of where this stump is.
And he loves to cut the feet. He does.
He almost has like an elephant
on an
foot.
overhang. I was just like, how do you do that?
Spain's climbers are crazy, man. They're insane.
First of all, they're fun and they're good. So it's always
the craziest experience I've ever had.
All the American team loves to hang out with the Spain team.
Nice press there by Kara.
Nice choices by Kara. I'm not surprised at all. I got to see her climb at training camp. I've seen the work that she's doing. She's taking this very seriously.
This
is the hardest move. This actually got a lot of the different paraclimbers in all categories.
Look at that.
Oh, that was a different
Very
choice.
smart.
I'm getting a little micro shake in there.
Now I think she can maybe hop that left foot up.
Yes.
Very good.
Come on.
Nice, Kara.
Nice move. Nice.
Still staying super
really good
composed.
route reading from her.
That's the biggest thing that's most impressive to me is just like adapting to abilities. And like the craziest person I've seen do it, there's a kid from where I'm from named Watson who
wait, who was here today? Oh yeah, Watson. Yeah.
Watson
in the youth category.
The youth champion?
The youth champion. Soon to be open champion.
Watson's insane,
Future
man.
open champion.
Watson, like yesterday we watched him on this quali route completely skip an entire section and only use like the feet and campus the feet to get around the section you couldn't reach through.
Oh, wow.
So
well, this is good because Kara's starting to disappear. We haven't seen anybody disappear on this route yet. So this is clearly a high point for this particular category.
Seamus Goulian.
This is our Canadian, our resident international climber coming through.
He was wearing the pineapple pants yesterday.
Yeah. Well, his girlfriend actually is an American that competed wearing those pineapple pants.
Oh, today?
Yeah.
Okay.
So a little secret there.
Seamus is, there's a big thing right now where arm, not necessarily amps, but to a certain extent won't be classified in AU2, so they've been bumped to RP3 and then, you know.
Right, yeah. So that's that reclassification that happened over the last couple of years.
And that's where Seamus is kind of standing right now.
Well, he came to the competition as a boulderer, and so his first cup that he went to in LA, he actually, he didn't do as well. But to see how much he's grown in these 2 years has been amazing.
So Kara just really trying to be so intentional with all those movements. Wow, that was beautiful.
Wow,
finding the right balance point.
Do you know how hard it is to place that?
I can only imagine.
Just a tiny crimp too.
Oh, and she used the mechanical bent knee, and it's staying there. Is she really going to trust that? I'm scared. As a leg amputee, I'm like freaking out right now. Okay, so
I wonder if she might. Yeah, because she needs to get that left foot
Right,
higher
she's-
sometimes, but she
So
can't
she's
really
gonna
put
go.
too much
She's gonna
weight,
try to go
but
for it.
she's
I
gonna try
think
to go
she's
for
gonna-
it.
It looks like it.
I mean-
Because the thing is, you can't control the prosthesis, so the wrong movement and it can just slip off.
I was
and
gonna
you
say
can't
pressing
feel it.
though. Pressing
Okay, she's
gives her the mobility to be
That's
able
what
to
I'm talking
move.
about. The awareness is insane. She's like,
Nice save, nice save,
oh,
nice save.
what a
What?
push.
Oh. Really great
That's high
effort
point
by
right
Kara
now.
Parker.
All right, we got Sheamus. He's
I'd
right
be
at a
curious to
point.
know what her clock was too.
Yeah.
Because we can't see it, since we have
The
more
clock
climbers
kind of
going at
moved
the
away.
same time.
Sheamus is. Oh, he's on the struggle
Try
bus.
hard, try hard.
Try hard. Come on, Sheamus.
Really
representing
good
Team
fight there.
Canada.
We're seeing that boulder running come out.
I heard he drinks maple syrup to get started.
Wow.
The heel. Wow, that looked amazing. He's really avoiding cutting feet through there. Oh, he is
He
so
kind of needs
pumped.
to because he does
So
need that
pumped.
opposition there.
Come on.
He's so
Come
close
on,
to that
Sheamus.
middle.
Whoa.
Great effort by Sheamus
Amazing
Bullion.
effort.
Great push.
Man, that volume is just killing everybody.
It's the endurance, man. I'm telling y'all, they got to hop on the endurance training.
So we only do have one more athlete in that RP3 category. Here's your score for Kara Parker, 43 points. Such beautiful climbing. It was so cool to watch her find all of those balance points, really using a lot of palms too to really be able to create that mobility through that section. Sheamus Bullion, 20 points. Amazing climbing in that section where we've seen so many of the men in so many of the different classifications.
Right.
Kind of have an issue with that section, but really fought hard, really fought with all his might. He tried
For
so
real.
hard, which I love seeing try hard. That is one of my favorite things to see in a competition.
Got some young guns coming out next. We got
This is one of my favorite new climbers. I got to talk with Mary, you know, behind the scenes because we know we both share buzz cuts, and we said
I love that.
it's a style and an aerodynamic climbing choice.
Oh yes,
Yes.
yes. I see it. I
You know,
see it.
every ounce helps, you know, to, you know, get that going, get that movement. And I believe Mary is making like the most smartest choices when it comes to climbing. They came into this with no expectations.
Okay. That's always a great place to be.
I'm telling you, it is a good place to be. And look how quick movement, the quick and easy and smooth movement they are making, smart choices, moving through, looking really comfortable. I also feel like California is producing a lot of amazing paraclimbers this year. What do you think about that, Braden?
You know, I hate to agree with you, but you're right, you know, I mean, we have
I mean, we're from the East Coast, and we're going to be like kind of biased, but we're not going to lie with what we're seeing on the wall today.
T-Slaw, Tanner Sislaw in
T-Slaw, I
AL1.
like that.
Oh yeah, AL1. He's one of my good buddies who's living in Salt Lake now. Oh, we have Micah Winkle coming
Representing
out.
Memphis Rocks,
This
my other
is-
fam.
This is my boy right here. You know, me and Micah, some of the young guns coming in RP2, RP3. He's looking super composed. I'm excited to see how he does. You know, maybe I'll get farther, maybe I won't. We'll see.
Yeah, because he had to sit out the last year's comp because he broke his ulnar or something like that and had surgery. So if you notice, he's taped up.
Yep.
So I'm surprised he didn't get me to another category from that alone. But he is an RP3 category, fellow cancer survivor, Memphis Rocks climber, started in youth and just killed it in open. Was with me in Russia at World Championships, killed it there too. So I expect nothing but less of him being in finals.
And Micah, you know, out here, those young bucks out here in the para scene and climbing scene, it's all about the flow. And, you know, you're looking out here, look at this man, you know, got the lettuce on top of his head, you know, it's flowing. So,
Is this what's really important? Because like we're not teenagers anymore, so you got to let us know.
I was like, what are you saying?
It's about
Brandon?
it's
I'm
about
sorry,
the
I
hair.
don't understand any.
Well,
of
because
the,
I think he's fighting with my aerodynamic
new
thought
words.
process
The
between the
lettuce?
paraclimbers.
the lettuce, it's like
Okay,
it's like a
so-
hockey term. I learned that from
okay.
from my boy on the TV show Dom. He's from Massachusetts. Met him and he used it all the time. So picking
All
up on
right.
some of
Well,
his
you
vocab.
learn something new every day.
I know,
I guess
I'm just-
lettuce means hair now, so I'm into it. Mary doing a really good job. Oh, they're finding the press now. We saw Kara kind of find a press there too for a second.
Micah getting a great rest on this absolute bucket that everyone thought was a slow burn. All right, moving into a super stout section, but Micah's a really strong boulderer also, so we'll see how
Looks
he kind of
like-
handles
oh.
this.
They
Not
are
as
resting right
dynamic
now,
as I
and I
thought.
really appreciate the resting that Mary
Beautiful
is
toe
doing right
hook.
now.
But
Oh,
see,
that toe
he
hook.
only used one, so when he pops out of it, he's not going to come out as far, which
Exactly.
is honestly really smart.
Let's see how Micah approaches this
He is
next
still
time,
going to have a
to
pretty
cut
big
feet.
release, yeah.
Nice,
So,
Micah.
But
his-
right into that heel hook.
Great. So his disability has to do with the fact that his femur is completely replaced. So he doesn't have a femur there because that's where the cancer was. So I'm interested to see like how he's going to use that, especially when you're pumping and you need to flag out. You can't flag out. So what is Micah going to do here? So let's see how he hits this next dynamic
With that move, though, he already clinched his gold medal in
Yeah,
the
he did.
national championship
So
win
I guess
here.
I'll
So
see
we
him at
just
the
have
World
to
Cup
see
later.
what he does
Look
here.
at Mary. Mary's hitting the top point right now.
Look, let's see if he
Here he goes.
identifies.
They are making good
Nice.
choices. Oh, wow. Oh.
Really nicely done from Mary as well.
Now I
coming
can't
off.
rub it in his face.
I think Micah just looked down at the clock real quick to check the time that he has left right into that technic pinch.
Smearing.
Little crimp has to go
Look
really
at him
casually
incredibly
to
strong.
it.
And that lock off on the left must really
Using
hurt
the
right
volume
now.
first
Like,
person.
Into those pinches.
yes.
Oh, what? Oh my goodness.
Come on,
Nice
Micah.
save.
Come on, Micah. Oh, nice push, nice push.
Not going to get a top, but
Yeah.
amazing climbing
Amazing.
from Micah Winkle, clinching that national championship title. He is going to be very excited when he finds out.
And so is Mary, because Mary's now on the podium in their first ever competition. They are going
Oh,
to
that's
be on the
Mary's
podium.
first ever competition.
Yeah, we met at
Wow.
the Adaptive Climbers Festival, and we was like, oh, our hair. And then I was like, so I was
36 plus
psyched
for Mary.
Yeah.
Micah, we've been talking about it, and we were warming up for the comp and everything together a couple days ago, and he's like, dude, honestly, like, I don't even care if I win. I mean, obviously he wants to win, but he wanted the top. He wanted to top the
He
finals.
got close.
Last
Got really
year,
close.
in Birmingham, only like 1 or 2 moves off the top. So
It's always a really good place to be. I'm sure he'll be pleased. Even though he didn't get the top, winning is still really exciting. And then getting that opportunity to get back on the World Cup circuit, it'll be great for him. Great experience.
I don't know about you, but I feel like this competition, the caliber in this competition is just like on another level. Speaking of, we have Paralympian and climbing champion from the previous World Cup is Hannah McFadden. In relation to Tatiana McFadden, the Paralympic legend. So it's in the blood.
In the blood.
It's in the blood.
Oh, and so this is what you guys were talking about in terms of
Right.
the length?
Well, actually, not wearing a prosthesis at all, and maybe wearing like what we call like a little nub, or maybe it might have like climbing rubber on it. Sometimes it's self-made. So wearing your liner that you normally would wear your prosthesis with, and just nothing else, and using that. So these things are choices in mobility and style and climbing style that works for you and your disability. And then some people can't bear weight, and some people can bear weight. You know, like, these are the choices. And this is another above-knee amputee. So you saw how Carol decided to wear wear a prosthetic and then change the foot to an evolved climbing foot. This person decided not to wear a prosthetic at all. You know, so
this is definitely like a setup I've ever seen for the prosthesis. Not even a prosthesis, just, you know, set up on the nub right now.
yeah, it's rarely done. I mean, a couple people in Spain don't wear a prosthesis and just wear their liner to protect their skin.
Yeah, then there's also kind of a form of prosthesis that I've seen where it's like pretty similar. It's almost just like a suction, just like a big old cup that goes around that's molded to your stump with a little shoe on, like the evolved shoe on the
Right,
bottom.
yeah. A couple of my climbers on our team also climbed with that as well, yeah. And because, you know, hip flexibility is something that I believe that amputees have, that, like, our hip flexors are, like, ridiculous because they have to be. Like, if you're missing a knee, you're missing an ankle, you overcompensate by having just, like, really flexible hips.
Yeah.
And
I would be a terrible amputee. Broke my hip like 3 years ago, and now I can not move. It's
but I
so
heard
gnarly.
you didn't do it before that, so
Yeah.
you didn't use it
Probably
then
not.
either.
No.
Yeah, and Karima, it's really cool to have you give that firsthand experience as an amputee and be able to kind of articulate what it is like, especially in the climbing, because, you know, we need to understand what's going on with all of everything that everybody's dealing with, and to have you up here sharing your knowledge is really so important. And I'm
Thank
so
you.
glad.
I appreciate it. I've been having
I'm so
fun.
glad that you are able to be here and share all that with us. I feel like I've learned so much in the last, I don't know, what, like 4 hours? 5 hours?
It's been a cool day. I don't know. The day never ends when you're having fun, Megan. Why are we counting?
And Brayden, the same goes for you. Like, thank you for deciding to join the booth to hear both of y'all's perspectives as you both are dealing with different abilities. So I really love hearing it and having that perspective.
Thank you for having me. You know, like I was saying earlier, like I grew up, you know, racing motocross, and even after my injury, racing mountain bikes, non-para, and so I'm definitely like new to the.
Okay, we're reaching the high point here for the AL2 women. This is like a deciding factor.
Yeah, this is kind of where we saw.
Like,
Kara,
if she makes it to that purple volume,
yeah. Well, I think we saw Kara. I think got on the purple volume.
I think she got the white. I think she might have gotten the plus, maybe. Yeah. I think on that.
She stuck the white jib and then kind of blew off after that. So I think she'll get establishment on the white jib.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Because she did have a whole number score, I believe, no plus.
Definitely at a really good pace, you know, not coming too fast, taking her time, getting a good rest.
And now we can see the clock because we just have one climber on the wall. So
the
we
world
can
and
see
the elephant. What does the tattoo mean? Now we have to ask that question later. Write that down.
The world and the element.
I need to know what that tattoo means. It looks awesome. It looks meaningful. Okay, so here's a different thing. Like Kara having prosthetic, she placed it out on the right, and here Hannah is amputated on the left and is not wearing a prosthesis, so the beta is going different.
Oh, really nicely done there, and it looks like
it also allows her to move quicker through this route because of that. You realize that, right?
It totally does.
Yeah. And we might be looking at a top. So close. Yeah. But we are looking at a new champion, though.
I believe so.
Okay.
Really nicely done by Hannah McFadden.
Great job by all these athletes in this category. I mean, some really interesting stylistic moves.
It is confirmed she is the winner, 44 plus. I believe Kara had 44. So Hannah McFadden will be the AL2 national champion. So really exciting. So she'll have a chance to get back out on the World Cups. Obviously, she has a lot of experience. But right now, really psyched. Micah Winkle, congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah, Micah.
Appreciate it.
What up, buddy?
National champion, RP3. Really good voice recognition there, knowing that it's Brayden.
Oh, yeah.
So you climbed incredibly on that route. It was fun having Brayden up here, actually, because y'all climbed on the same route today.
Oh,
and in fact, Brayden, why don't you ask Mike a question?
All right. So you're at the white pinch, right? Kind of the side pull, and then you're making that dynamic move to what looks like a sloper. When you read it, okay, did it look like a sloper, or did you know it was a bucket?
I mean, I figured it was kind of slopey, but it looked good enough to move dynamically too. I read it as like a right-hand cross and like more static, but once I got there, it was like pretty gas, so I just kind of jumped for it, went for it.
That's where I blew it, dude. I was trying to do it all static because it looks like some gnarly sloper from the bottom, and I couldn't really see, and then like felt fine. Just absolutely.
So, Micah, I do have to ask you one question.
Yeah.
How psyched are you to get to do the World Cups again this year?
Oh, pretty psyched, especially with the championship coming up this year.
Yeah,
Hoping
so it makes
to get that again.
Yeah, heck yeah, it makes it even more incredible. Well, we're super psyched for you. Huge congratulations. Enjoy the rest of the competition.
Thank you, you too.
Let's go, dude.
Thank you.
Wow, this is
that was fun.
Energy's high.
Got to
Energy's
talk to you,
high.
bud.
Insane. That was a good comp.
Yeah.
Really good comp.
Well, it's not over yet.
Is it really not? We have more climbers?
Yeah.
No way. That's so hype.
Brayden's like, I usually just climb and leave. I didn't know that other things happen after I'm
We've
done.
got a
What
1,
category?
2, 3, 4.
We got open. We got
women's,
open category.
Women's and men's open too.
And so just for everybody to who's tuning in right now, so for the first time ever, USA Climbing is taking the open category and podiuming it and putting it into session 1 and session 2. Earlier, if you go back to our live stream before, we had session 1, and in session 1, the climbers are climbing routes rated somewhere between 5.4 to 5.9 based on their ability. And in this session, the climbers are climbing rated climbs 510 plus up to, I believe, 512A or something like that. So that's usually the highest you'll see in a paraclimbing comp is somewhere around 12A or B at top.
And that's kind of weird also because it's hard to assign a grade. Like for RP2, for example, it listed as 10C to 12A or 12B, and then like a lot of us are, like I know me and Ben, I believe Dennis are all, you know, red pointing 13, 13A, 13B, and working on that. But you know, you throw it in a comp setting, it's really different.
And so just explain.
So
wow, we
we're
got
really
Hannah
lucky
here.
we have Hannah McFadden here. Hannah, congratulations on becoming the new national champion. How psyched are you?
I am so excited. I'm relieved. I'm technically not cleared. I had surgery on my shoulder.
Oh.
I had one more week till I got cleared, so I'm just glad I pulled through. And more excitingly, we have so many great females in this class, and the sport is growing, so I'm very happy right now.
I'm glad you brought that up because I was going to say this class was very deep in terms of competition. So you mentioned being a little relieved, probably due to the being not cleared, but also because you are going up against so many strong women. How does it feel to have pulled it off tonight?
I think it's great. I joined U.S. Climbing 2 years ago, and just seeing how many women are taking the field, I think that's great to see the sport growing. And I think it's great to show that U.S. is ready to compete internationally for this World Cup.
Awesome, I totally agree, and I cannot wait to see you in the World Cup this year. Huge congratulations again. Thank you for talking to us, and enjoy the last few competitors of the evening.
Thank you, guys.
Great job.
Thank you, Hannah.
Awesome to hear from Hannah. Really excited. We're moving into a new category, the Open Men, starting with Adam Starr. Gonna get things going. And for the Open Women, Catherine Spiso.
Both two amazing competitors. I met Catherine Spiso at the Adaptive Climbers Fest, who, was convinced to come out and looking to, also grow the sport administratively. I met Adam a long time ago, and he actually did compete in a different category, classified. Now, just to explain to everybody at home, open category doesn't mean necessarily that they're not disabled or don't have a disability, but sometimes there are qualifying disabilities for category and you might not meet that criteria, either by paperwork, either by test or ability. But we don't want you to come all the way over here and don't get to climb and don't get to show out for your hometown. So we have a podium for these strong, amazing climbers with different abilities so they can showcase the world what they got.
Classification is a thing that a lot of viewers or, anyone who isn't the athlete or coach doesn't see. Classification is honestly so stressful. I've had, went to nationals last year. They were like, oh, like you're probably RP1, RP2, like around there. I said, oh, okay, and ended up going RP2. Then I go to the Salt Lake World Cup, and they're like, oh, like you're between RP2, RP3. They put me in RP3. Then I had to, protest and go to a second screen. They're like, oh, you're definitely RP2. And then this year was like RP2 100%. So it's just like, there's so much variation with both rule book and going from USA Climbing to IFSC.
And it's mostly because of the fact that the sport is evolving.
Yeah, it's growing.
And actually, we're up for a bid to be in the Paralympics, and so we are learning how to follow the new classification rules that actually come from the International Paralympic Committee and tailoring it to climbing, which has never been done before. And in that, some people have been moved around to different categories. We saw that in the previous session with visual impairment. We saw that in the session with the AU category. And we will see this again, actually, because they're releasing new rules on April 1st. And we're going to see that maybe some of these athletes, when they get to the World Cup in May, might be in a different category. It can't be stressful. But the one thing that we do know is that everybody here loves climbing, and everybody's putting everything they got on this wall, no matter what category they're in.
But you're right about that. It is extremely stressful. You go into, that's the first battle of the weekend for me is
getting through that.
And it's 2 days of class. It's stressful for me, and I got to drive everybody to classification and sit in the room and talk to all the MDs and the OTs. And shout out to the volunteers, the classifiers, who actually professional physical therapists and occupational therapists who volunteer their time to make sure this goes well.
Oh, I was going to say, it looks like he's going to have to go dynamic here. Adam Starr putting up a good fight. Kind of tricky there.
Definitely tricky.
We saw because Ronnie had that prosthesis, he was able to kind of get a toe hook in there, but Adam choosing not to use prosthesis, maybe a little difficult to find something to keep him into the wall for that specific move, but it's like you never really know, and you have to compete the way in which you're most comfortable.
Exactly. And then also you have to realize that, again, for those at home, maybe they couldn't take the time off to get to the classification, so they said, you know what, or they maybe just came to climb for fun. We saw Jess Sport, who's usually AL2. She said, I'm just coming here for fun. I didn't even bother to classify. I just want to come to the comp. So she put herself in open, and I believe that was the same for Mr. Adam Starr.
Oh, Catherine's so
Oh,
close.
Catherine.
Really great effort. She was climbing so
And
well
Blanche
throughout the
came out.
entire time on that route. Lots of good movements, and that little Waco section, we've seen a lot of the athletes
Threw a lot of people
across
off.
all classifications kind of struggle
Great score,
there.
though.
36 plus, it'll be the score to beat as of right now for that Open 2 women's category,
Here's
with 3 more climbers to come. Now we have Oliver Carnazzo. They will be climbing on Open Men's 2. Men's Open 2.
Yeah.
I kind
This is the only climber in my team in
switched
the
that around.
open category this season out of St. Louis. Works at the Upper Limits Climbing Gym part-time. Just graduated from occupational therapy school.
Nice.
And putting all that problem solving and body work into climbing.
There is a trend, right, with a lot of people within the medical field. Obviously, lots of problem solving there. The fact that those people find climbing, which is constant problem solving. I really like that Watson mentioned that he liked math. I was like, well, another problem solver.
No surprise there that this is the popular sport for all of the cool nerds.
Yeah, Oliver, I believe, was registered for RP2 and then went the classification and did get bumped to open.
Yeah.
So I'd love to see how he does in this route, and also in comparison to his to who would have been his RP2 competitors in my category.
Which that works out nicely. I'm sure it's not always the case, but in this instance, that is kind of cool that that is the case. Carissa Dahlia is up next in the Open 2 women's category. Looks like another pair of cliffhangers.
Yeah, I saw her
member.
last Thursday in my gym in New York. Like, she climbs the weekly sessions with us, and then the Paraclimbing has the athlete team, so. She actually decided last minute she was going to compete. I think literally weeks, a couple weeks ago. Yeah, the last time I was in New York, back at home, literally a couple weeks ago on Thursday, she's like, I just decided. So
I love a last minute decision.
Yeah, last minute decision, right? And you're like, I'm just going to go to Open, I guess. I don't know. Yeah.
So Oliver, go ahead.
Taking a great approach to this is exactly how I read it. Skipping that second Waco style hold, and we'll see how he does this section. I've seen a lot of people kind of struggle with this sequence right here, and I definitely thought about doing the match like he is right now, but I ended up going to the pinch, the big white pinch, which is actually a volume. But the funny thing about all these climbs, you have to read them, with a grain of salt, because these are all new holds. So super, super grippy. Like, what is a sloper honestly feels like a jug, and it's crazy. And skin definitely is feeling it after 2 days of competing, but
definitely a factor.
For a flash comp style, it's nice because you can just throw to these holes and expect something that's consistent and super grippy.
And the score for that men's Open 2 right now to beat is that 19 plus, right around here, just a little past here where Oliver is right now. So if they can get through this section, then they'll be taking the lead. This next section that we've seen so many athletes come off, and a few successful ones get through it.
Yeah, absolutely. They were at training camp in Chicago, because we have this training camp that we open to all athletes. Any paraclimbers that come, please come through next year to prepare them for competition. And I really liked how intuitive their route reading was. Like the way they kind of approach routes very intentionally with the movement. And I'm seeing this here.
Wow.
Coming off the wall.
Great climbing from Oliver Carnazzo. We'll have to see what their score is. And we still have on the wall Carissa Dahlia right now. Also getting to a section, actually just getting through one of those really tricky sections on this climb that we've seen so many of the athletes have to figure out a way to work through. And again, because the classifications are sharing routes, it's been really cool and interesting to see how each person has to approach it within each classification, because it does change a lot.
Yeah. And these are the hardest routes in the open sessions.
Yeah, they are. Definitely are.
Again, that grading is 510 up to 512. And when we say 510 to 512, it means that the beginning of the route starts at a 510. And then as you're climbing, the route gets more and more difficult into moves that are at 512.
I've always thought it was just the hardest part. You live and you learn.
and you're in the competition,
exactly.
Brandon.
I'm here to climb, not for the logistics.
I don't know what that is.
I don't care what the grade is. I'm just trying to top.
We got
Carissa getting nicely onto this first volume. We've seen a couple athletes from other categories here, seeing if Carissa can keep moving up.
That right crimp looks real rough.
And then this next move is pretty awkward. We haven't really seen anyone get through this section. Looks like there's going to need to be some pressing involved. Up next for the men's Open 2, we have Riley, Darby, McClure, Oliver Carnazzo got that score of 20, so putting them on top of the leaderboard for this category. But Riley could do something here, so we'll have to wait and see as Carissa is trying to get through. She's so close to the top.
You know what? One of Carissa's favorite things to do is jigsaw puzzles on the apartment floor. So in New York, and clearly showing.
So close.
Little stutter.
I feel like that was a strength problem there.
I wonder because Carissa was pulling up forward before and then dropped later.
So high,
I also wonder if that would be considered movement. You know, original movement, then backtracking. Do you know what I mean?
We'll definitely have to take a look at that score and see what the judges said.
Could be interesting.
Oh, wow.
Looks like they gave Carissa just the 45, not the actual plus.
I guess she didn't really come off the hold.
Not necessarily, yeah. Definitely on the line, though, like, maybe. I always advocate for a plus.
Exactly.
So.
Yeah, totally. I'm with it.
They do a lot. They do a lot, especially in tight categories.
Exactly. Though Carissa does have a pretty good lead right now.
I like the way this person is reading this route. Like, really just...
Yeah, Riley's doing a great job so far. And again, 20 is what Riley needs to do in order to get on top of the podium. Now, this category has 3 people not able to compete in the World Cups, but you want to be on the podium, so it's nice that all 3 will be, but we don't know in what order.
In what order?
Exactly.
Well, Oliver told me they want to win, so...
Well, Oliver's doing a good job at the moment.
Awesome knee bar. That's so sick.
That is a nice knee bar that Riley was able to find there.
I read that and I was like, I'm probably the worst person to try knee bar. I just cannot do it.
That's a quick look at the standings in this Open Men's 2 class. Oliver Carnazzo at 20. Riley in that same section right now, so we'll see what happens here.
Here's the divider. This is the now.
See how they do it.
Oh, and we have another.
Oh wow, looking really confident.
Come on.
Oh,
so gotta get on top. Come on.
Here we go. Here we go.
Almost held on.
Very, very close there. We'll have to see how the scores reflect that on the right, or now just on the middle of your screen.
Really
Sarah Beth Broccoli.
How slopey that hold is. It's not great.
Yeah, it is not a great
Got to stay towards the corner, kind of the middle.
Sarah Beth making these opening moves look quite chill. This route definitely kind of builds as it goes. So Riley will end up being the winner in the Open 2 men category.
Right, and it's actually their first time competing in paraclimbing, and Riley, they actually came in just like, and since 5:12 outside. So I think that they were probably just as surprised. They're like, what? And everybody who falls off of that is like, what?
It is a really cruxy section, very exciting, and I think it's also cool that the athletes that we have seen get through it, we've seen them do it in so many different variations. I feel like when a crux is like that, that's always exciting. So that's a look at your winner, Riley, Darby, McClure, 20 points on the board. And they're going to walk away with a championship.
Yeah, I think so. They are walking away with a championship.
Totally. Loving it. As Sarah Beth Broccoli kind of gets her hip in there a little bit, we've seen a lot of the athletes kind of get into that press position. The volumes that are set there really creating kind of more of a pressy situation. Which we saw a lot of the AL2 athletes be able to kind of like wedge a hip in on either side of those big holds in order to get a little rest and also readjust and situate themselves through there nicely on that crimp. Really important to get that hold. Needs to get a little bit higher up.
A little bit of hesitation.
Yeah.
I'm sure she'll figure it out.
There we go. Kind of hopping that foot up on that ramp a little bit to get some more purchase on the right side and then bring that left hand in.
Still
really
looking
nicely.
really calm.
Yeah, I like that. Because you know what? I think also what the open category says is just like, have fun. You know what I mean?
I mean, I hope everyone's thinking have fun.
I mean,
if you're not having if you're not having fun, why are you doing it?
But I always say this, like mountain biking, moto, climbing, everything. I talked to my mom about this. She's like, go have fun. And I'm like, talk to me after. And I'll be like, oh, that was a great time.
Well,
but
I like
always
your honesty.
can't stand the process of ISO. I love the climbing aspect of it. It's just the stress that goes along with it is crazy.
The waiting around, right?
And
the waiting, and keeping warm. And
funny enough, I'm actually less nervous at World Cups because there's less of a consequence. I feel like I'm actually climbing for myself.
Yeah.
Here, you know, there's a lot on the line, especially for people who are, you know, in categories that determine whether or not you make national team.
Totally. She didn't quite make it as far as some of her other athletes, but did a really great job.
Still having a good time. That's what we love to see.
Nice job there, Sarah Beth Broccoli. 34 plus. Pretty good score on that route. We'll have to see where that puts Sarah Beth. Just below Catherine Spiso. With one more climbing, Michelle Patton, to come. And actually, our last climber in the competition, I can't believe we're almost done. How did that happen? This flew by. I want more. I'm not done. I want more.
So confused why this is it.
I'm trying to get back out there on that climb, man. I want to give it one more go.
Braden, I bet that can be arranged.
Michelle Patton,
so.
Hometown is Frisco, Texas. I actually got to meet Michelle at the training camp in Chicago over a month ago.
Oh, wow.
And intentionally is an open category, just kind of like trying it out, feeling it out, learning as much as possible. So came to our training camp, learned a lot, you know, is with Summit Climbing Gym.
In Texas.
Friends with your friend Mario Stanley from
Who's
the TV
in the building
show.
today.
Who's in the building today. And I love watching Michelle climb. I had a good time watching Michelle climb back in Chicago over the weekend, and I think, you know, if she decides to, you know, approach categorization, it's going to be amazing.
Well said.
Great approach, honestly. It's like less of a
kind of feeling it out
exactly.
first.
It's a good, you know, testing ground, and you don't have all the weight on your shoulders.
Mm-hmm.
And also, you know, if you don't think you're ready to go perform at a World Cup level, you know, not that you would be taking away from the people who, you know, really are, but I think it's a smart position to take.
And I think it's actually a good idea that we have this open category for people to just like come in, you know, get a feel for it, because being that we only have one qualifying competition, there really is no other way to know what to expect unless you just show up.
Exactly. And like, we're still just scratching the surface at para comps, right? Like teams and, you know, individuals and people are trying to finally, you know, establish para categories that already established comps and para comps, you know, straight up. And so I think, you know, it's just starting. So there are very few opportunities to really test it out in the para format. And, you know, funny enough, Nationals is one of them.
Really really smart and chill movement from Michelle Patton.
A look at the leaderboard in the Open 2 women's category. So the score
coming
of 45
in, this is the divider section right here.
Throwing in a lot of really good body movement, making sure the body position is right. Going into,
just keeping
you know,
low and chill, and those arms are straight. Looks really good. But I saw her in ISO briefly, gave her a high five, and she was like, she looked a little nervous back there. I was like, we're in open and you still look nervous. That's cool.
Even in open category.
I think because, you know, when you're from Texas and then you're last climber out and you're in Texas, like it's like kind of a big deal. Like you're closing us out.
And she is living up
the
to
new
the
champion.
pressure, because look at her flying through this route for just about 4 minutes left on the clock, approaching the top. Like 2 minutes to get up there. Absolutely stellar performance here. First
now
person
this is
we've
how
seen
you
control
end
this
the
hold.
competition, Michelle.
Come on.
Gotta get in a controlled position.
Let's go.
And that's the top.
Yes, that's top.
Yeah, so in paracomps, you only have to have one hand, or at least in USA climbing, only one hand established.
Yeah, paraclimbing in general, IFSC and USA rules, one hand in control counts.
Yeah, you just have to prove that control. So there were a few tops earlier where when they first hit that finish hold, they did need to readjust and show control. And she did a great job verifying with the judge to make sure that they understood she had control of that hold, because she could have kept trying to move her foot up or something, but why risk it, right?
Absolutely.
Make sure you confirm with the judge because they can tell you as long as you ask them. So great job from Michelle Patton. Really exciting
Super
to see
stuff for Michelle.
that climbing from her, but we're really excited.
Yeah, so is the crowd.
We have an interview coming up with the open category winner, open 2 men's. Riley, amazing climbing. How does it feel to be the national champion in this category?
Pretty good. This is my first competition at this level, and I want to give props to route setters. This is some of the most fun routes that I've ever climbed on, and so I'm really thankful for that and everybody and all the support here.
And we're so excited to see you out here and so glad that you came and competed. And I know you've climbed quite hard outside as well, 512 outside, and you're in that category that pushes the 512 range within competition. Do you feel like that prepared you for what the route setters threw at you today?
That was a curveball, I have to say. Yeah, that volume was pretty hard.
Awesome. Well, we're so psyched to have you here, and we can't wait till the next year. Congratulations again on being the Paraclimbing National Champion in this class.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you.
So cool to see Riley, first year of competition, national champion. Amazing. That's what we want to see. We want to see more athletes coming out here trying to get into this competition.
It's been great. It's been great spending time with you, Braden, up in here. I
Yeah,
mean, usually
come up here anytime.
we're in Europe at the World Cups, but this is good too.
And we're really excited to have Michelle Patton join us right after sending that route. Michelle, how did it feel to come out last climber of the evening, not only just win your class, but also top the route?
It felt really good. Like, this is my first time in ISO as a competitor. I spent a lot of time working as an ISO coordinator for a lot of national comps, so getting to see the other side and then getting to show my best performance was really great.
That's so cool. I was going to say, I thought I've seen you as an ISO monitor before.
Yeah.
I was
I've been
like,
at
Michelle,
many of
you
those
look
competitions.
so familiar.
Yeah.
Awesome. So that's even more special
Yeah.
to be at this competition and have it happen and to end the round that way.
Yeah.
Karima was talking a lot about how the fact that, coming to the open category first is a great step into the competition realm. Did you feel like that was the best way to feel comfortable competing?
Yeah, for sure. I was glad I didn't deal with the stress of classification, and I just got to come in, do my best, not worry about any of that stuff before the comp, and just focus everything on the comp.
Well, it turned out well for you. Congratulations again on your win, and enjoy the rest of the evening. And best of luck in the future. Can't wait to see what it holds for you.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Great job.
Great job, Michelle.
Wow, and with that, I can't believe it. We've already gone through all of the competitors, crowned
You
a
lie.
million
Stop lying.
national champions. I'm just guessing because I can't do numbers. Karima, Braden, I'm so thankful that y'all decided to come up and hang out with me and, really share your knowledge. Any last thoughts on this competition?
More, better.
Hey, we just got the World Cup season coming up, so
Yeah,
can't wait to see
I'm
everyone out
psyched
there.
that the first Paraclimbing World Cup is going to be right on U.S. soil in Salt Lake City in May. So, guys, check your calendars. I want to see everybody out there cheering the U.S. team on because, as you see, we are going for it.
We're going for gold. You're right.
Going for gold.
Awesome. Well, I want more as well, but got to thank USA Climbing for putting on this amazing 2023 Paraclimbing Nationals, Mesa Rim for hosting in Austin, Texas. Karima, Braden, so happy that y'all joined me. I'm Megan Martin, and I can't wait to do it next time. Thanks, y'all.
Thank you, everybody. Bye.
Have a good one, guys.
You have to fail multiple times to find the right way. But once you find that right flow, and you're gonna be more successful.
Resilience is kind of understanding that like bad things will happen and that like you can turn those into opportunities to grow and become a stronger person.
When I was young, I was one of the only women in climbing. I was the kid at the gym climbing with all the older dudes. I think for me it was sort of like a proving ground.
I've had those struggles too, that people have been upset that there's been a black person in their gym. And I'm resilient because I don't let it stop me.
Adversity teaches you to fail properly. And if you're not willing to accept failure, then you're never going to learn to grow.
Bro, whatever you can throw at me, like, you're not going to take me away from what I want to do. You can't stop me.
Whether you're alpine climbing or cragging after work, Gnarly Nutrition is here to help you push your possible.
Travel doesn't have to be this super exotic international thing. It can really be out of your own backyard. The high desert is so three-dimensional and it's so big that there is no way you could ever see everything here. The orange and brown and yellow is just so endless. Whether it's something I've done before or something brand new, there's so much to explore just right here.
So yeah, we've been testing out the new catch and hold system from the TrueBlue IQ Plus. And with the IQ Plus, you know, you're just able to stop there, rest, shake out, try to figure out the moves, and yeah, really excited to have this new device in our gym. It's going to just really help us to continue growing the sport.
Since 1966, we have viewed walls not as obstacles, but as opportunities. From the big walls of Yosemite to the high peaks of the Himalaya, we were searching for a personal kind of freedom. In this pursuit, we found a community, strengthened by different stories, experiences, and perspectives. This community has shown us that the only way forward is together.